Part 225. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 2242. Wen, you are so busy with the work of Xi-Fresh delivery, and you still have to take Wenqian with you, is that okay? Tan Shahan asked Wen. You have to do it even if you can't. You can't keep her in the Hongling Reservoir forever. Wen smiled and said, as you said, if you keep her there, it will delay her. No matter what, I'm here. Find a nanny for her in Changsha to take care of her. Have you ever thought about letting Wen Qian follow her father? Tan Shahan finally spoke. Wen and Qian were stunned, looked at each other, and then looked at Lu Ligan. Tan Shahan said quickly. Wen, Qian, please don't misunderstand me. I don't mean to separate Wenqian from you, but I mean that she can actually follow her father and raise her. It's not just the responsibility of you two, dad should also take this responsibility. Of course, Qian, you can also come to Hangzhou. Our company, Wenqian's father's company, wherever you want to go. If you don't want to go to these two places, Zhang Chen is here, you can go to his company too. I'll go, Zhang Chen muttered and looked at Tan Shahan. You have to agree to where you want to go, or you have to agree if you don't agree. It's not up to you. We gave you our daughter and asked you to arrange a job. What's wrong? Tan Shahan said. Lu Ligan laughed, and Wen and Qian couldn't help laughing too. Don't use Xiangnan as a shield, Zhang Chen scolded. I don't want you to pretend to be a favor. If Qian wants to come, she can tell me which department she wants to go to below me. I will definitely arrange it. No need. You. Qian quickly said, thank you, brother Zhang Chen. Sorry, my fault. Tan Shahan waved her hand towards Zhang Chen to express her apology. Then she turned around and said to Qian. In this way, Qian, you are also in Hangzhou, you are not separated from Wenqian, and you have solved the problem of Wenqian's growth. We can help cultivate it together. By the way, you have all seen Zhang Chen's daughter Zixi. Is she very healthy? I mean in terms of character? She is studying in what I said is a very good public kindergarten. If Wen Qian comes to Hangzhou, I will arrange for her to enter this kindergarten next year. Wen and Qian lowered their heads and said nothing. Tan Shahan asked. What else do you two think? There are no outsiders sitting here now. It can be said that they are all friends and relatives of Wen Qian. We all do it for Wen Qian's good. If you have any ideas, you can say it. You can say anything. Tan Shahan looked at Lu Ligan as she spoke, and continued, we are all adults and have been through this. There is nothing we can't say. Wen raised her head, looked at Tan Shahan and said. Sister Zhen, thank you for speaking so frankly, and thank you for considering Wenqian so much. To be honest, let Wenqian follow Mr. Lu, it's not that we haven't thought about it, it can be said that we have thought about it many times. Wen Qian was brought up by Mr. Lu. She had a deep affection for Mr. Lu. After Mr. Lu left that year, Wen Qian spent a long time calling her daddy when she went to bed at night. When she woke up in the morning, the first thing she said was, the thing is, where is Dad? I saw Dad come back earlier, why is Dad missing again? She did it in a dream, and then she burst into tears. We felt very distressed when we saw it. We had discussed at that time that we could send Wen Qian to Hangzhou, but we didn't dare. We didn't know what kind of situation Mr. Lu was in Hangzhou, and we didn't know what he was like. Will his family accept Wenqian? Wenqian has already been abandoned once by her biological parents. We dare not and cannot make her feel that she has been abandoned again. Later, as time passed, Wenqian gradually accepted the fact that Mr. Lu was no longer here. However, her temperament still changed a little, and she became particularly timid and did not dare to contact strangers. We wondered if because Wen Qian didn't have a father, it turned out that Wen Qian was not like this. It turned out that she was crazy in person and knew each other well. When Mr. Lu and brother Zhang Chen went to Hongling Reservoir again, we also thought about whether to let Mr. Lu take Wenqin away and let Wenqin follow her father, but Wen stopped here. She looked at Lu Ligan and stopped talking. Tan Shahen asked. But what, Wen? When we saw Mr. Lu again that time, we felt that he obviously wanted to keep a distance from everything in the Hongling Reservoir. We knew that he had concerns in his heart. It must be here in Hangzhou that there were things that were not convenient for him to talk about. He didn't mention this matter. As long as he still regarded himself as Wen Qian's father and let Wen Qian think about it, the rest didn't matter. It's not difficult to bring up a child. We think we have this ability ourselves. As Wen said this, Lu Ligan's eyes turned red and he cursed. You two are really stupid. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? If I had known that Wen Qian had become withdrawn, I would have brought her here long ago. Qian snorted and said, you still have the nerve to accuse us? How many times have you called us in such a long time to ask about Wenqin's situation? It was a little better at first, once every 2 or 3 days, and then it's once a week, but now, I don't take the initiative to call you once a month to ask, right? It's because Wen Qian missed you and she called you herself. Lu Ligan froze there, speechless. After a while, he muttered, I just know that Wen Qian will call me when she misses me. What about you? Don't you think about her at all? Can you think about her once in a while? Qian asked, and Lu Ligan was stopped by the question again. Although Zhang Chen told Tan Shahen that he would not interfere in this matter, at this time, he couldn't help but come out to smooth things over and said. Okay, everything has passed. There is no point in talking more. Wen Qian, do you still have any plans to bring Wenqin to Hangzhou? If you still have this plan, we will discuss how you can come. There's nothing to discuss. Qian said. Both Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen were startled. Qian continued. Wen and I are both Wenqin's mothers. Of course we will make the best plans for her. If she can come to Hangzhou, it will of course be the best for her. I think it is better than going to Changsha with Wen. What's even better is that her father is here, sister Zhen is so good to her, and brother Zhang Chen and Xiaofang are here. I believe you will all be very good to her, so why should we be worried? Qian looked at Wen, and Wen nodded. Qian continued. Let's just settle this matter. Don't be nagging. I think Wen Qian is here this time, so she doesn't have to leave. Anyway, she originally planned to go to Changsha next month. It's better to stay here and let her adapt here. Life in the city. Great, Tan Shahen shouted, and Lu Ligan also laughed. As for you, Qian, if you want to go to Tan Shahen's place, you might as well come to me, or you can go to Xiaofang and Lu Yun's place. I'll go talk to them, Zhang Chen and Qian said. Qian shook her head, I'd better go back to Ningyuan. There are still a lot of things in Ningyuan. Wen and I are not here, so we don't worry. Wenqin is here with you. I don't worry, and Wen will also feel relieved. She'd better go back. Changsha, after all these years, I am finally alone again and can relax. Qian laughed as she spoke, but everyone could see that the smile was fake. Lu Ligan looked at her and wanted to say something, but Qian scolded. What the hell, I have time, so I can't pick up handsome guys. I'm telling you, if you dare to treat Wen Qian badly, I will come to settle the score with you. Tan Shahen took Qin's hand and said to her. You don't have to tell him. This time, you don't leave Wenqin to him, but to me. I will definitely be responsible for Wenqin and you. You can come to see Wenqin whenever you want. During the summer vacation, I will also take Wen Qian to Hongling Reservoir to see you. By the way, I haven't been to Hongling Reservoir yet. Wen Wen and Qian both agreed. The matter is settled like this. Wen Wen and Qian will take the high-speed rail to Changsha tomorrow, and then Qian will take the high-speed rail from Changsha to Quanzhou. The people from Hongling Reservoir will drive to Quanzhou high-speed rail station to pick her up, and Lu Wenqian will stay in Hangzhou City. The next day, Tan Shuhen and Lu Ligan took Lu Wenqian with them and drove Wen Wen and Qian to Hangcheng East Station. When they were about to pass the security checkpoint, Wen Wen and Qian hugged Lu Wenqian and told her to be obedient. Listen to Dad and Big Mom. Lu Wenqian promised at first, but something didn't sound right. She finally figured out that Wen Wen and Qian were leaving and left her behind in Hangzhou. Moreover, she would stay here with her eldest mother and father. I won't go back to Hongling Reservoir. Lu Wenqian cried wow and pulled Wen Wen and Qian to prevent them from leaving. Tan Shuhen couldn't hold her away even if she hugged her. Lu Wenqian cried loudly and asked Wen Wen and Qian. Mom, don't you want me anymore? Wen Wen and Qian also cried, and the three of them hugged each other. Qian and Lu Wenqian said. Wen Qian, you are in Hangzhou, wouldn't you like to be with your father and eldest mother? Hangzhou is so nice. There are so many high-rise buildings. Look, there are so many cars on the road. While crying, Lu Wenqian shook her head and said, No, I want to go back with my mother. Tan Shuhen hit Lu Ligan, and Lu Ligan walked over, reached out to hug Lu Wenqian, and said to her. Wen Qian, come to Daddy, let Daddy give you a hug. Wen Qian still held Qian's neck with one hand, and stretched out her other hand to hook Lu Li's neck, crying. Dad, please come back with us. All those cocks on the mountain miss you, and Wen Qian misses Dad too. Lu Wenqian cried so sadly that she broke the hearts of the four adults. Qian and Tan Shuhen said. Sister Zhen, you should either ask Wen Qian to go back with me first. After a few days, when she recovers, I will send her here. Tan Shuhen nodded and said to Qian. No, in a few days, we should come to Hongling Reservoir and pick her up again. This time, it is indeed too sudden for her. Thank you Win Sanliu and Feng Konghu 1974 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2243. After breakfast at the hotel, Zhang Xiangbei, Xiangnan, and Bao Tianbin set off for Ding'an and planned to stay in Haikan in the evening. Xianggu Centennial Cattle Market is located in Dingcheng Town, where the county government of Ding'an County is located. The original Xianggu Town, Dingcheng Town, and Longzhou Township merged in 2002 to form the new Dingcheng Town. The area under the original jurisdiction of Xianggu Town became the Xianggu Community. It is more than 220 kilometers from Sanya to Dingcheng and can be reached directly by taking the east line of the Ring Island Expressway. Bao Tianbin and Zhang Xiangbei said that Xianggu now is different from when UN President Wu came. Why is it different? The century-old bull market is gone, Zhang Xiangbei asked. The Centennial Cattle Market is still there, but now it has been changed to the Centennial Cattle Market Farmhouse. However, the cattle trading is the same as before. There is nothing to see. When you came last time, the beef shop was on Xiantun Road near the Centennial Cattle Market. Now it is basically there. Moved to Siyuan Road, closer to the city, Ding'an beef is now famous, Bao Tianbin said. Today, Zhang Xiangbei is driving, Xiangnan is sitting in the passenger seat, and Bao Tianbin is sitting in the back seat. This section of the east line of the Ring Island Expressway can be said to be one of the most beautiful expressways in China. Of course, Zhang Xiangbei does not want to miss this opportunity. Bao Tianbin and Zhang Xiangbei said, Don't worry. We are going to Dingen today mainly to eat beef. You can eat dancing beef there almost 24 hours a day. We can arrive at any time. Dancing beef? Mr. Bao, what do you mean? Xiang Nan asked. The beef is very fresh. The market where the beef is sold is only a few hundred meters away from the slaughterhouse. The beef comes from the slaughterhouse and is hung there or placed on the chopping board. The nerves of the beef are still moving, as if dancing, almost. It will take half an hour for the beef to stop moving, so it's very simple to check whether the beef is fresh or not. If it moves, it must have been freshly slaughtered. As Bao Tianbin said, Xiang Nan didn't believe it anymore and asked, does beef really move? It really can move. You can see it later, Bao Tianbin said with a smile. The slaughterhouse kills the cows based on the beef sales at the stalls. They kill and sell them now. They don't say they will kill 40 today, they kill all the cows at once. They kill them only when they are almost sold out. This ensures that the beef being sold is always moving. There is no way. After Dingen's dancing beef became famous, everyone went there and looked for beef that could move. Non-moving beef couldn't be sold, Bao Tianbin told them. Dingen black pig bone soup is also very famous. I remember eating it when we came here. It tasted good. In Dingen County, the streets are full of black pig bone soup, Zhang Xiangbei said. You can hardly see it now. The black pork bone soup was made and gone, Bao Tianbin said. How could this happen? Zhang Xiangbei asked. I don't know the specifics. A friend will come later. You can ask him. He knows this. Your comrades, Zhang Xiangbei remembered that the last time they went from Kayangshong to Dingen, Bao Tianbin's comrades received them here. No, Bao Tianbin said, it's my comrade's brother, Lao Qi, the president of the Catering and Cooking Association here. Zhang Xiangbei listened with interest. He was the president of the Catering and Cooking Association. He was indeed knowledgeable about this industry. He could ask him many questions. When the car arrived in Dingen, the Ring Island Expressway divided the entire Dingen County into two. Liaoding Town was on the left, and the original Xianggu Town area, now Xianggu Community, was on the right. There are no toll stations on Hainan's expressways, and the tolls are all added to the oil. Therefore, the oil in Hainan is more expensive than in the mainland. When entering the island from the mainland, or when leaving the island and returning to the island, you will have to put your car's car in Hainan when preparing to cross the ferry. The fuel tank is full. A mainland kid like Zhang Xiangbei is always a little uncomfortable driving on the highway in Hainan. When he entered the ramp, he consciously started to look for the toll station. But when the ramp was completed and the highway was connected to the city road, he remembered that here it was in Hainan and there was no toll booth. Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help but smile. There was no need for a navigation system. Bao Tianbin was the navigation system. He directed Zhang Xiangbei to turn right off the off-ramp and onto Xianan Road. After driving forward for 5 or 6 minutes, he saw Siyuan Road. This road was originally the main road in Xianggu. Zhang Xiangbei remembered that there were many black pork bone soup restaurants on this roadside, but as expected today, he didn't see any of them. When they were approaching the intersection of Siyuan Road, Bao Tianbin shouted, keep right, Mr. Zhang, keep right and stop. Zhang Xiangbei saw two people standing on the roadside. One looked very familiar. He should be a comrade of Bao Tianbin. The last time he and Xiao Wu came here, they had dinner together. There was also a middle-aged man in his 40s. He has dark skin, high cheekbones, and short hair. He looks like he is from Hainan. He should be Lao Qi, President Qi. Zhang Xiangbei pulled over and slowed down. Bao Tianbin's comrade raised his hand towards Zhang Xiangbei and grinned. Zhang Xiangbei wanted to stop the car, but he waved his hand and turned around. He kept waving his hand, letting Zhang Xiangbei know. Zhang Xiangbei drove to follow, walked 5 or 6 meters forward, waved his hand in the air and swiped to the right. On the right was the yard of a unit, and Zhang Xiangbei drove in. Someone came out of the communication room. His comrade shouted, and then he stepped back. Zhang Xiangbei parked next to the two cars inside. Zhang Xiangbei asked Bao Tianbin, "Old Bao, what is your comrade's name?" "I can't remember it." "Ahua," Bao Tianbin said. The three of them got out of the car, and Ahua had already greeted them, holding Zhang Xiangbei's hand and saying, "Hello, hello, Mr. Zhang." Zhang Xiangbei said, "Hello, Ahua, we meet again." Ahua chuckled. At this time, Lao Chi walked in from the outside, and Ahua introduced them to each other. Lao Chi smiled and said, "No introduction is needed. Mr. Zhang, I know him. He is the boss of Xixian Delivery. I have met him online." Zhang Xiangbei quickly said that it was already past tense. "President Qi, I have long admired your name." Ahua told them that the car was parked here and we walked there. There was only a little way. Zhang Xiangbei said yes. Sure enough, it was only a little way away. When I turned the corner diagonally across the street, I saw a long row of more than 20 stalls selling beef on one side of the street. Opposite there were restaurants, mainly engaged in beef processing. This formation, just like the seafood stalls in Sanya and the seafood stalls under Bangqiao Road and Renmin Bridge in Haikan. The scale is indeed larger than what I saw on Xiantun Road when I first came here. However, Xiantun Road is only one street away from here, and they just passed by it. Bao Tianbin said that for the beef here, he buys the meat himself and then goes to the opposite side for processing. The restaurant charges a processing fee by weighing the weight. Of course, you can also entrust the restaurant to buy it on your behalf. "Isn't that the same as a seafood stall?" Zhang Xiangbei said. Bao Tianbin said, "That's right, that's it. Restaurants are actually processing plants." Zhang Xiangbei and the others came closer, and sure enough they saw the beef on the chopping board and hanging on the stall. The pieces were beating constantly, or more accurately, they were twitching. Zhang Xiangbei looked at it in great surprise. Xiangnan held Zhang Xiangbei's hand, leaned close to his ear and said, "Too horrible." Zhang Xiangbei laughed and thought, if there was a piece of meat placed on the table at home, it would keep moving on its own, and most people would be scared to death. Here, if Bao Tianbin hadn't told him before, I would be shocked when I first saw it. It was already past 12 o'clock at noon, and there were many people buying beef here. There were several women standing on the roadside, soliciting business, and they were all shouting, "Don't move, 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 move a beef, pulse beef, freshly killed." People buying beef also pointed and shouted, "It can move, it can move, it really can move." The boss here, everyone seemed to know Lao Chi, and greeted him. Lao Chi asked them something in local dialect. They pointed to the stall in the middle, and Lao Chi led them forward. Bao Tianbin and Zhang Xiangbei said that Lao Chi was asking them who had cow brains, and they told him that cow brains are good things and there are not many. The meat of a cow comes from the slaughterhouse and can be divided into every stall here. Yes, but cow brains are not good. They are generally not sold. People who are familiar with them come and buy them. Bao Tianbin also told them that there was no need to bargain here. The prices at all stalls were the same. From morning to midnight, beef was 60 yuan per catty. If you entrust the store to buy it, it would be about 51 catties. Zhang Xiangbei was surprised and asked, "How can I entrust the store to buy it cheaper? The beef bought in the store is all untouched. It is fresh and tastes the same, but it has been killed for more than half an hour." Bao Tianbin said, "Most of the diners who come here are from I drove here from Haikan and Sanya. I came all the way here just for the gimmick of dancing beef. Who wouldn't be able to buy it? Locals know it and will entrust the store to buy it. They rarely come here to buy beef themselves." Bao Tianbin told them that Zhang Xiangbei understood. Lao Chi led them to a stall in the middle. The boss saw him coming and greeted him enthusiastically. Lao Chi said something to him. He nodded quickly and turned around, taking a foam filled with ice cubes from the stall. In the box, I took out a package of things wrapped in plastic wrap, and I could vaguely see that the blood inside was probably a cow brain. Then, Lao Chi pointed to a piece of beef hanging at the stall that was moving very happily and asked, "How do you like this piece?" Bao Tianben said yes. Lao Chi said, "This piece should weigh about 2 catties and 8 tails, it's almost there, just right." Zhang Chen looked at this piece of beef and thought it should be 3.5 to 4 kilograms. When it was weighed, it was 2 kilograms and 70 taels. Zhang Chen was surprised and asked, "Why is it only 2 kilograms and 70 taels for such a large piece of beef?" Lao Chi said to him, "Although the beef here is a bit expensive, it is real. The beef you have seen before is probably either filled with water or frozen. It is also filled with water. The meat is very absorbent. If you have ever stir-fried slices of meat, you will know it. If you add cooking wine, light soy sauce and oil, you can grab a few handfuls and it will be absorbed by the meat." Zhang Xiangbei thought for a moment and realized that this was really the case. With 2 kilograms of beef and half a bottle of mineral water, there's no problem at all, Lao Chi added. Ahua said from the side, "Yes, if we usually come as 2 people, we can just buy a pound of beef, half roasted and half boiled. 1 pound of beef can be cut into 2 plates. The beef from other places can be cut into so much." Lao Chi then asked for 2 more pounds of beef ribs and 1 pound of beef liver, and said, "Okay, I bought them all here. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you to Lao Shenzasang, Xianlei Wang, Yuza Xiaoliu, Book Friends 202110010016199727, and Book Friends 201810242110325547 for your monthly passes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2244. They walked to the opposite side, a shop called Jia Beef Shop. There were dozens of wooden round tables in the shop, surrounded by red plastic chairs. The door was completely open, and there was no air conditioning. There were only rows of the ceiling fan was blowing loudly, and the entire store looked like a food stall. The sink for washing vegetables, the dock for weighing and cutting meat, and the seasoning table are all placed at the door. Everything is done under your eyes. You can watch the meat you bought being cut into pieces and marinated. Is also marinated in front of you. Everything is made from real ingredients, which makes people feel at ease just by looking at it. When the chefs and owners of the store saw Lao Chi coming, they all stopped what they were doing and called him master. Zhang Xiangbei asked Lao Chi, "Are these your apprentices?" Lao Chi smiled and said, "No, everyone in this street calls me master." Lao Chi rinsed the beef in water, gave it to the master in Duntu, and told him, "Half and half." This tells him that half of the beef will be roasted later, and half will be used for hot pot. The roasted half needs to be marinated first after being cut. Beef liver and beef ribs are given to the waiters. After cleaning, they are also given to the master in Duntu to chop and slice them. Zhang Xiangbei saw that the beef here was completely different from the meat of Kobe Weijiao. There were almost no snowflakes and no frost. It was pure lean meat. Lao Chi took a stainless steel plate, put the cow brain on the plate, rinsed it in the sink, then took a toothpick, picked it a few times very quickly, picked out the fascia in the cow brain, and handed the plate to Dude. Dude asked, "Quick freezing?" Lao Chi nodded, and he told Zhang Xiangbei that it would be better to freeze it for a while. Zhang Xiangbei understood. Master done to cut the half of the beef that was going to be roasted and put it in a stainless steel basin. The chef looked at Lao Chi and didn't dare to do it. He wanted to wait for Lao Chi to cook it himself. Lao Chi scolded, "Are you betraying me?" Master Dehi smiled sheepishly and was about to start seasoning. Lao Chi changed his mind and pushed him aside. He picked up the basin and used a spoon to add seasonings on the seasoning table. He mixed it with Zhang while he was mixing it. Xiangbei said, "This is 3 fresh powder, this is white sugar, this is nan milk." Then they added 13 spices, oyster sauce, Haitian soy sauce and minced garlic. In the last stainless steel basin, Lao Chi said that this is their secret sauce. The other seasonings are the same for everyone. The secret is the secret. In the sauce, this is different in every house. After all the seasonings were added, Lao Chi put on disposable gloves and kept grabbing the meat with his hands. The meat in the stainless steel basin began to darken and thicken. Lao Chi covered the mouth of the basin with plastic wrap to let the guy took it to the refrigerator and refrigerated it. Lao Chi and Zhang Xiangbei said, "Ordinary customers will not take this step. After refrigeration, the beef can be more delicious." Next came the marinated beef liver and beef ribs. The beef liver had been cut into thick slices. Lao Chi said that it would not taste good if cut thin. The beef ribs had been chopped into small pieces, marinated and fried. After finishing all these tasks, Lao Chi began to order. In addition to the ingredients they had just bought, Lao Chi ordered a red braised beef offal stew. Because the beef offal stew needs to be simmered for several hours, the ingredients you can't buy it now, it's from them, it's an a la carte dish. Next, Lao Chi ordered a portion of black tofu, a portion of sweet potato, and a portion of cabbage rice. After ordering the dishes, everyone went over to sit down. The pot here is a zima pot. There is a round pot in the middle with 2 large beef bones in it. It is steaming. This is beef bone broth, which is used to cook hot pot. In addition to beef bones, taro stems are also added inside. Around the round pot is a baking tray covered with barbecue paper. Sitting here, you can cook and grill. Zhang Xiangbei thought about it. Isn't this just a combination of barbecue and sukiyaki? Or are we? Chinese people are smart and save trouble. Everyone was sitting drinking tea and chatting. The people who were behind them had already started eating. They had nothing here yet. Lao Chi was not in a hurry. The chefs here did not dare to touch the ingredients without Lao Chi's instructions. Zhang Xiangbei knew that Lao Chi was giving the marinated ingredients in the refrigerator time to taste. Bao Tianbin remembered it and said to Lao Chi, "Lao Chi, Mr. Zhang really wants to know why Dingan's black pork bone soup can't be seen now." Lao Chi sighed and said, "We didn't seize the opportunity. When the black pig bone soup was red, it was redder than the current Xianggu beef. At that time, not only Dingan City, Sanya, and Haikan, there are many Dingan black pig bone soup stores. From 2011 to 2016, our Dingan black pig bone soup was most popular. At that time, Xianggu's beef was not very famous, but in 16 years, just this year, the brand of Dingan black pork bone soup collapsed, and the pork bone soup restaurants closed one after another. Why? Because during this period, we failed to launch an industry development plan and form a unified standard for the industry. In the end, due to the low industry threshold, anyone can open a black pork bone soup shop and establish the name of an black pork bone soup. First of all, these stores have not received the necessary technical training, and the quality is mixed. In addition, in order to reduce costs, some businesses also use ordinary pork bones or pork bone powder to pass off as black pork bones, which has chilled the hearts of consumers and ruined the brand. We have received many complaints and are aware of this situation, but there is no way, we are not a law enforcement agency, don't you think so? In the end, the brand of Dingan black pork bone soup was lost to us, Dingan people, and we couldn't survive on our own. Lao Chi said, pointing outside, and said to them, "Look, isn't the beef in Dinganzyanga very popular now? It's becoming more and more popular, and more people come to eat it, but I'll tell you honestly, every time I come here, we are on tenterhooks, fearing that when we come one day, there will be no one here. Although we have strengthened management in this area, it is still not enough. There are several shops here that make black pork bone soup. When I see them, I want to give them a hum. When there is money to be made, everyone closes their eyes and makes it hard. It doesn't matter if they make it hard, but they are afraid of making money randomly." As he spoke, Lao Chi turned to Zhang Xiangbei and asked him, "Mr. Zhang, do you know Chaoshan beef hot pot?" Zhang Xiangbei said, "I've had it a few times, but I don't really understand it." Lao Chi said, "Actually, our Xianga beef is the same as Chaoshan beef hot pot, both of which are based on the freshness and authenticity of the ingredients. Chaoshan beef hot pot also sells fresh ingredients and has quickly become a popular product in the hot pot category. In 2016, Chaoshan beef hot pot blossomed all over the country. At that time, in Shanghai alone, the number of Chaoshan beef hot pot stores reached more than 1,000 people. But just 1 year later, that is, last year, Chaoshan beef hot pot ushered in a nationwide wave of store closures. The number of store closures in first-tier cities was as high as 80%. Why? It relies too much on ingredients. It is your advantage, but looking back, it will also become a disadvantage that limits your development. Like our Xianga beef, you can see the beef here. If you go to other places, not to mention Beijing, Shanghai, or even Haikan, you can still see the beef? That's right. Whenever you see beef, it is not yellow beef from Xianggu, but beef from other places and other varieties. Your most advantageous things are gone. If consumers still don't like you, it's a sure thing to close your doors. Do you think I'm right, Mr. Zhang?" Zhang Xiangbei nodded. He felt that Lao Chi was right. However, he also thought of another problem. This is also a common problem of all restaurants in the country, especially those with local characteristics. That is, once a place becomes famous and makes money, it is eager to run a chain business and expand across the country without looking at its own objective conditions. Just like what Lao Chi said, if you open a shop thousands of miles away to make Chaoshan beef, how can your ingredients still be fresh? If you open a shop to make Kiandao Lake fish heads in Urumqi, even if you have fish heads, it was still airlifted from Kiandao Lake. Can the Kiandao Lake fish heads in Urumqi be the same as the fish heads sold freshly by Kiandao Lake? Those who make large kidney slices do well in Chongqing. The key is to go to the slaughterhouse every day to purchase the freshest pork kidneys, process them on the same day, and sell them on the same day. When you go to Beijing, can you get the same pork kidneys? Even if you get it, the pork kidneys in Beijing are different from the pork kidneys in Chongqing. Zhang Xiangbei thought of how he and Zhou Ruyi went to Guangzhou Shan to eat raw pig offal porridge. It was because the porridge shop was located next to the slaughterhouse, and the pig offal was still warm when it was shipped there, so it was delicious. If you opened it in downtown Guangzhou, would it still be so delicious? Zhang Xiangbei also thought about his sister taking him to Weidakan in Mi Prefecture to eat beef when he was in Japan. Weidakan's business is so good and has a history of hundreds of years, but he has never heard that they would open a Weidakan in Tokyo or even Osaka. I won't even go there. If you want to eat the best Matsusaka beef, I'm sorry, then I'll invite you to me. He is so awesome, and he makes a lot of sense. Zhang Xiangbei even thought about why many of Hayao Miyazaki's picture books, including those made by Mr. Kao and others, can only be sold in Miyazaki's art museum and Kinosaki Onsen. It's not unreasonable that you can't buy it elsewhere. Mr. Zhang, what are you thinking about? Bao Tianbin asked when he saw Zhang Xiangbei in a daze. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said that he had some ideas after listening to what Chairman Qi said. Lao Qi shouted, "Tell me, Tell me, Mr. Zhang, come and listen. Zhang Xiangbei told them what he had just thought of and his experience of eating Weijiao and Matsuzaka beef several times in Japan, including visiting their auction market for Weijiao beef auctions. Lao Qi was very interested after hearing this. Zhang Xiangbei said, I would say, if you are not sure and cannot guarantee the freshness of the ingredients, Xianggu beef should not think about going global, don't think about going nationwide, or think about Shaxian snacks. To be honest, Shaxian snacks we have gone out, but what about our reputation? As more and more stores open, is our reputation getting better or worse? I haven't done any investigation, so I dare not draw any conclusions, but the Chaoshan beef hot pot you mentioned earlier, President Xi, is a bloody lesson. I think the first step for your Xianggu beef is to become bigger locally. To become stronger, don't think about going to the whole country, but let the whole country go to you. It's like this now, President Xi, I'm sorry, I'm just telling the truth. There is still a lot of room for change here. You are right. I also think that this place is in a very dangerous situation now. Black Pig, the history of bone broth is likely to repeat itself here. I don't know if I come here in another 5 years and it will still be so prosperous. Lao Qi's face looked ugly. Xiang Nan saw it and touched Zhang Xiangbei under the table. Zhang Xiangbei looked at Lao Qi and said quickly, I'm sorry, President Qi, you just think I'm talking nonsense. Lao Qi shook his head, picked up the teapot, poured tea for Zhang Xiangbei, and said to him, Mr. Zhang, you have experience and knowledge. You must tell me what dangers we have here now. As I said before, every time I come here, I feel very panicked, but I just don't know what you are panicking about. Thank you Hoo for your monthly vote. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2245. Okay, let me talk about the hotel first. It looks very lively here. There are dozens of restaurants. But after I took a look, it can only be regarded as one, because every store has the same environment, tableware, and even charges. For example, this pot, no matter how many people there are, it's always 58 yuan, right? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Lao Qi nodded and said yes. The advantage of doing this is that there will be no high prices to rip off customers, but the disadvantage is that it actually eliminates competition. There is nothing to compete with here. They are all processing shops. Whether the business is good or bad, the dishes that are not made in this shop are not how delicious it is. I guess the difference is not big, it just depends on your geographical location and how capable the little girl sent to solicit customers is. For a hotel, if your dishes want to be delicious, the choice of ingredients is very important, and it is very particular about how much seasoning you need to put in. I think the beef you marinated, Mr. Qi, will definitely be more delicious than any of their restaurants here. Why? Because you are an expert. Starting from the meat, what you choose is different from others. The taste of each part of the same cow is different. Japanese Weijiao and Matsusaka beef are divided into plum, bamboo, chrysanthemum and rattan. When we sell pork, the pork is also divided into different sizes. I don't know if there is such a way to divide beef. How do ordinary consumers understand this? The restaurant should help them control this. Right now, restaurants are passive. No matter what kind of meat you buy, if you want it fried, I'll fry it for you. If you want hot pot, I'll give you hot pot. How does it taste? Is this meat suitable for hot pot or hot pot, frying? They don't care about it at all. I can guarantee that among the dozen or so tables of customers in this store, the meat tastes different when grilled because the meat they buy is different. Anyway, we are in the processing business, and the processing fees are the same for everyone. If the boss wants to make more money, he should consider cost savings. Which part has the highest cost? It must be the labor cost. I took a look, and the chefs and most of the people who cook are people who have learned cooking skills for a few days or even not at all. As long as you can cut meat, it's fine. We don't even need the most basic junior technicians. There are dozens here now, and even if there are hundreds in the future, there won't be a decent chef, because there is no need. An apprentice can do it, so why bother spending more money, pay for a chef? So I said, no matter how many restaurants there are, they are actually just one. The owners of these restaurants may make more and more money, but the restaurants themselves will not improve, nor will the chef's cooking skills improve, because he does not need to. If he improves his salary, it will still be 58 per pot, and the boss will not give him a salary increase. Mr. Zhang, you are right, Lao Chi said. Hainan, whether it is making seafood or our Xianggu beef, adopts this processing model. In this way, the hotel itself does not need much working capital. In addition, the restaurant itself does not need much working capital. There is no waste of ingredients. Anyway, it is wasted because the customers bought too much. Many people think this model is good and it is a kind of protection for tourists, but some people, like Mr. Zhang said, think it is an extensive model. Take seafood for example. There are so many types of fish in the South China Sea, and tourists, how could they possibly know what to do if they couldn't even identify it? Beef was even worse. They couldn't tell which part of the cow that piece of meat was. The hotel doesn't purchase its own ingredients. You're right. There's no way to guarantee the quality of the dishes. I'm a chef myself, so I know. The biggest problem with this is that it eliminates competition. Without competition, there will be no progress. Not only will there be no progress in the hotel, but there will also be no progress in the employees, Zhang Xiangbei said. There is one thing Zhang Xiangbei has not said, that is, in such an environment, it is impossible for a chef like Master Fu to appear, and it is impossible for a century-old beef restaurant like Watajin to appear. Mr. Zhang, tell me, what else is there? Lao Chi urged. Zhang Xiangbei said, as for the other side, as I said before, the quality of the meat of each part of each cow is different. The quality of the meat of cattle from different feedlots is also different. Even in the same feedlot, the quality of the meat is different. Every cow that comes out will be different. Now here, everyone is treated equally, and everyone sells for 61 pounds. Isn't this eliminating competition again? It's not that I admire foreigners, I just think that a grading system like Japan's will promote the cattle industry, whether it's Kobe Wagyu or Matsusaka beef. They are all calves born in Tajima, but not all Tajima cattle. You can call yourself Kobe Wagyu as long as it has not been rated and recognized. You can only call yourself Tajima beef, not Kobe Wagyu. Once it is rated as Kobe Wagyu, the price is dozens of times that of ordinary Tajima cattle, which stimulates all ranches to think of ways to raise cattle that can reach the level of Kobe Wagyu. All species, whether cattle or pigs, including the vegetables we grow, are the same. Good quality must first be good varieties, and good varieties must be continuously improved. To get it, like our vegetables, we not only need to improve the seeds, but also improve the land. As an aside, in Hainan, we have the same pineapples. Why do the golden diamond pineapples grown by Taiwanese taste better than the original pineapples in Hainan? The golden diamond pineapple is a variety improved by the Taiwanese. Any improvement is not as simple as frying a plate of vegetables or making a table. It requires repeated trials and errors before you can find the right way. The improvement of Kobe Wagyu beef is the introduction of large quantities of foreign products. The successful improvement on the basis of species, the current Japanese Wagyu cattle, benefited from the Lycian cemental bulls from the Swiss Alps. After the improvement is successful, a complete set of breeding standards and pedigree system will be established to ensure that the improved breed will not be out of shape. What we eat now, whether it is rice, pigs, cattle, sheep, and poultry, has all been improved. By the way, it is like hybrid rice. If Yuan Longping had not discovered wild rice species in Hainan, he would not have succeeded, and for how many years did he stay in Hainan to find this wild rice seed? What I mean by this is that all improvements require investment and cost. If the breed I improved after all the hard work comes here, it will be sold for £61 like other cattle. Who will there is still motivation for improvement, but who is willing to improve? Not only is there no desire to improve the breed, but there is also no desire to improve breeding methods and increase investment. Anyway, everyone sells at the same price. As for others, I just close my eyes and follow how to raise it. But, in fact, species will retreat if they don't advance. If you don't constantly improve, you can't even keep the original state. The quality is impossible, species will degenerate. It is impossible to say that if I plant a row of leeks, I will harvest them for 10 years. There is no such good thing. The same is true for Xianggu beef. If no efforts are made in quality control, breeding of breeding cattle, and bloodline management, and a set of scientific feeding methods are not formed, it will also degrade. At the same time, in terms of meat quality control of finished cattle, without establishing a rigorous rating system, bad coins will eventually drive out good coins. This danger may not have come yet, because the sales volume of Xianggu beef has not yet reached the point where the supply exceeds the demand. Once it reaches the point where the supply exceeds the demand, the tragedy of the black pig bone soup you mentioned, President Xi, will definitely happen again, and a lot of other local beef will flood the market here, and it will be sold under the brand of Xianggu beef. This is really going to be like this. Lao Chi sighed sadly. We have thought of some truths, but without you, Mr. Zhang, you have thought so deeply. We have also said some things, but it is a pity that people are so soft-spoken. Mr. Zhang, why don't you county magistrate? It would be great if you were the magistrate of our Ding'an County. The others laughed. Zhang Xiangbei understood that his words were both uttered out of emotion and out of his mind. Lao Chi was right. Thinking of this, there must be people here who have mentioned this, but many times, no one will listen. I said these things, but others still took them seriously. It was just because I had run a successful business and had a little fame, which gave my words a little more weight. Lao Chi said, whether it's useful or not, I have to write down what you said, Mr. Zhang, and hand it over, and make some suggestions to those who have the power to make decisions. Mr. Zhang, thank you. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, thank you, it's good that you didn't think I was talking nonsense. No, no, every word is true, nothing is false. Lao Chi stood up as he spoke. There was almost enough marinated meat in the refrigerator, and there were also quick frozen beef brains that were ready to be cut. The first thing that came up were 2 plates of unmarinated beef, which are used for hot pot. The dipping sauce remains the same for thousands of years. In Hainan, I eat seafood on the side stove, mutton hot pot, coconut chicken, and braised chicken with ground gallbladder. They are all the same. Various dipping sauces, assorted sauce, minced garlic, peanut butter, coriander and green onion, Haitian soy sauce, Hainan chili sauce or millet pepper rings. There will be no vinegar. A bowl of small green oranges will replace the vinegar. Everyone starts cooking. The beef Lao Chi picked is very tender. Lao Chi said that it is ready to eat until the meat changes color. Don't cook it for too long. It will become too old and hard to bite. Next came 2 plates of roasted beef, 2 plates of beef liver, and 2 plates of beef brains. The brains had been cut into pieces and were not marinated. They were just sprinkled with orange juice and a little black pepper. Lao Chi told everyone that no matter whether it is beef, beef liver, or brains, do not grill it repeatedly. Just grill it on the front and grill it on the back again. This can lock in the flavor. Medium rare is the best. Everyone started to spread the meat piece by piece on the baking paper. The ingredients made a sizzling sound on the baking paper, and the aroma was fragrant. Zhang Xiangbei was responsible for roasting for 2 people, while Xiang Nan was only responsible for eating. Zhang Xiangbei also tasted beef, liver, and brain. Although beef brain is rare, it tasted good, soft, and melted in your mouth. It's a lot like tofu, but also like cheese, and the acidity and black pepper go well together. In comparison, Zhang Xiangbei prefers beef liver, which is very tender and has watery blood juice. It is slightly fishy, but the fishy taste is very exciting. It feels like he is licking the bleeding gums. Lao Qi asked Zhang Xiangbei how it was. Zhang Xiangbei kept nodding and said it was delicious. The beef was indeed good. Zhang Xiangbei has always believed that commenting on the food while eating is not only unreasonable, but also very frustrating. It not only ruins his own happiness, but also ruins the happiness of others. What is there to say that cannot be said after eating? Zhang Xiangbei met those who liked to point their chopsticks at each dish and comment on them when eating, and wanted to kick them. Although Zhang Xiangbei just said it was delicious, he was actually comparing it in his heart. He felt that, to be fair, the beef here tasted better than the beef he had eaten in China, but it had to compare with Kobe Wagyu and Matsusaka beef. Even compared to the Tajima beef he ate in Kinosaki, the taste was worse and not as fresh. There is still a difference whether there is frost or not, whether it is hot pot or grilled. Zhang Xiangbei suddenly thought that the best choice for small yellow beef like this is not roasting or shabu-shabu. Stir-frying will only make it great. But stir-frying shows the skill of the chef. This is probably why there is no stir-fry here. The reason for yellow beef. Then a cassette stove came up, lit it, and sat on a casserole. The casserole was opened, and there was a pot of braised beef offal. Zhang Xiangbei tasted it and felt that it was just for this. The pot of braised beef offal is worth the trip from Sanya. The tripe, intestines, lungs, and tongue are all braised thoroughly, and it is very delicious when you eat it. When the 2 plates of fried steak arrived, the color made one's mouth water. The beef ribs were chopped into small pieces and fried until they were golden and attractive in color. Zhang Xiangbei picked up a piece and put it in his mouth. That feeling can only be described as amazing, or so satisfying. The beef ribs are very chewy. Every time you take a bite, the crunchy, crispy and fragrant flavors burst together, filling your mouth. It is not that the fragrance lingers on your lips and teeth, but your lips and teeth are soaked in this fragrance. Everyone at the table said that the pork ribs were so delicious, but it was a pity that they didn't buy enough in front of them. Zhang Xiangbei felt that this also confirmed his judgment that if this Xianggu small scalper could be fried and eaten, it would be the best choice. If only Anthuihuan or Gugong had the skills, this stir-fried yellow beef might not look like much from the name, but when you eat it, it will definitely kill a lot of people's taste buds. Next came black tofu and sweet potatoes. The black tofu was cut into strips and the sweet potatoes were cut into slices. Both were grilled and eaten. After everyone had a full meal of meat, these 2 dishes can be said to be suitable. At the right time, especially the roasted sweet potatoes, the selenium-rich sweet potatoes from Chinmay Ikayatu are used. When roasted, the aroma brings people into long-lasting memories, and when they eat it again, they have mixed feelings. The last dish that came was cabbage rice, a large bowl of fried rice containing leeks, green vegetables, sausages, squid, dried shrimps, green beans, sauerkraut, wild rice, carrots, etc. There was also a plastic basket of lettuce leaves on the side. Lao Qi and Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan said, "Try this." The 2 people quickly said that they really couldn't eat any more and their stomachs were too full. No matter how full you are, you should try it. This vegetable stuffed rice is the real Ding'an specialty. As he spoke, Lao Qi started to demonstrate. He put a few lettuce leaves on the plate in front of him, smeared them with assorted sauce, spooned the fried rice onto the leaves, and then wrapped the rice with the leaves. Holding the bag in his hand, he said to Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan, "Did you see it? This is it. There is a saying. This is called the green treasure bowl. When you hold it with both hands and eat it, it's called holding the family wealth together without losing it. Come on, have a taste. After you taste it, I will tell you about it. Vegetables and rice, Zioxiashi. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thanks to On the Road, Tian Tian, the administrator on the 3rd floor of the library, Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48, Dong Long Dong, Nalan 18, and Book Friends 0906241115120009 for their monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2246. Mr. Zhang, look, this is called cabbage rice. Isn't it easy to understand? But if you go to the countryside near Ding'an and talk about cabbage rice, many people won't understand. In Ding'an, this is called cabbage rice. As he spoke, Lao Chi turned the chopsticks in his hand over, dipped them in wine, wrote the character on the table, and said to them. Bei, this word is pronounced bei, and the word is rarely used, but it is very old. It is found in Ziji Tongjian, the life of a man has a rest, and he eats dry rice. This is the rice, and dry rice is dry food. In the dialects of Lingnan and Hainan, many ancient sounds and characters that are no longer used have been retained and are still used. There are many ancient sounds in Kayang opera. In our Ding'an dialect, rice wrapped in vegetables is called cai zone. If you say bao cai zone, everyone will know what you are talking about. In our Ding'an, there is a difference between bao and bao. Bao refers to packing large items. Bao refers to something that is wrapped in a very small volume, so we won't call it bao cai zone, we will only call it bao cai zone. Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile, you Ding'an people are still more accurate. We Hangcheng people wrap fried dough sticks in spring rolls. We call it braised with green onions instead of braised with green onions. In fact, it is more accurate to wrap fried dough sticks. Xiang Nan asked, President Qi, does that mean that when the buns arrive in Ding'an, they should be called Beizai? Everyone laughed, and Lao Qi said, Beizai is not called Beizai, but here, those wrapped in flour and rice flour are called zongzi. We call the cakes in the north zongzi. As he spoke, he used chopsticks to write the word on the table. Zhang Xiangbei nodded and said, we in Hangzhou are also called kizi, but it refers to the smaller cakes, and the larger ones are still called cakes. For example, Qingming Kueh is not called Qingming cake. Oh, that's not right, it's just such a big noodle. We also have cakes called wheat cakes, which is very confusing. Zhang Xiangbei gestured with his hands as he spoke. Lao Qi said with a smile, the difference is really big, and there is also the word rice. There is still a difference between rice and spoken by Ding'an people. Still retains the ancient meaning, which means dry rice. And the meaning of rice is a bit broader. Rice includes dry rice and porridge. Don't misunderstand, the porridge of Ding'an people is called rice porridge, but it is not porridge in Mandarin or what you northerners call porridge. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan both laughed. It was the first time that they were called northerners. In Hangcheng people can always think of themselves as southerners, but from the perspective of Hainan, it doesn't matter. Wrong, in their view, all people outside Hainan Island are northerners or mainland boys and girls. Xiang Nan asked, President Qi, what do you Ding'an people call porridge? It's called porridge, Lao Qi said, but the porridge people in Ding'an refer to is the kind of porridge that has been boiled for a long time and is very thick and mushy, and has the shape of rice paste. People in Lingnan call it rice oil. Rice porridge or rice porridge refers to freshly cooked rice. The grains of rice are very distinct and can be dry or thin. The thinner ones are called rice porridge or porridge, and only the very dry ones are called rice porridge. This is your precision again, Zhang Xiangbei said. Lao Qi continued, Ding and people talk about going to Xiantun to eat duck rice dumplings and Ding Cheng to eat chicken rice dumplings. They must be talking about eating dry rice, which includes chicken and duck. They are vegetables, and many of them refer to dry rice made into rice cakes. Tou or, which is rice balls. Ding and people have the custom of not going out on the third day of the Lunar New Year and eating vegetable rice dumplings together with the whole family. It is very lively when eating vegetable rice dumplings. They first prepare rice dumplings, which is dry rice. Now that there are refrigerators, the dry rice has to be frozen in the refrigerator. Frozen into pieces one by one. Then we have to build a big stove, set up a big iron pot, put the glutinous rice cakes and more than 20 kinds of seasonings into the pot and stir-fry them. After the stir-frying, more than 10 or dozens of people from the whole family will gather together and wrap them in vegetable leaves to eat. When holding it with both hands, it not only means that the family wealth is not exposed, but also means that the whole family is reunited. In the past, rapeseed was made with rapeseed leaves, but now it has been changed to lettuce leaves. First, because rapeseed leaves have a bit of a strong taste and are not available all year round, while lettuce is available all year round. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "This is very similar to how Northerners make dumplings together during the New Year and holidays. We basically don't make dumplings. We eat New Year's Eve dinner and we don't make dumplings during the holidays." "You Northerners don't make dumplings for the holidays?" Lao Chi asked. "Okay, compared to you, we are Northerners. However, people south of the Yangtze River or Huihe River are generally called Southerners. Southerners don't make dumplings. Maybe it's because CCTV is in Beijing. It's often shown on TV. This makes people think that everyone in China eats dumplings during the Chinese New Year. When we celebrate the Chinese New Year, if we have guests over, if you invite them to eat dumplings, they will probably be beaten. You will be thought that you are too shabby and look down on others. You always need more than a dozen dishes of chicken, duck, and fish to be considered a treat. If CCTV were in Shanghai, I guess they wouldn't be offering dumplings for everything. The world will think that Chinese people don't eat dumplings at all. The fact is that half of the people in China don't like to eat dumplings, and there is no custom of making dumplings during festivals. In our city of Hangzhou, dumplings are just like noodles. They are something we eat occasionally at home. They are very casual. No one would treat guests with dumplings and noodles. You said, when Chinese people talk about dumplings, they are not delicious. Dumplings are no more comfortable than lying down. Is this misleading of public opinion? Zhang Xiangbei said. Everyone started laughing, and looking at it, no one at this table really liked eating dumplings, and no one would treat guests to dumplings during the festival. Lao Chi smiled and said, "That's right, we don't eat dumplings either. We Ding and people like to say, 'Hey, brother, come to my room to make vegetable rice dumplings today.' That's a very high treat standard." Everyone was chatting and laughing. While they were joking, Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan were both holding rice wrapped in vegetables. They thought they were too full and would not be able to eat any more. They didn't expect that they would eat such a big rice wrapped in vegetables while they were joking. After eating it, the rice dumplings tasted really good. "I learned it. I can do this myself when I go back," Zhang Xiangbei said. After eating, Lao Chi took them to visit a breeding farm more than 10 miles away from here. This breeding farm is in a ravine, with more than 1,000 acres of mountainous land, and raises more than 100 young cattle. Zhang Xiangbei saw that the young cattle here were very small, about half the size of Tajima black cattle, and their meat yield was definitely not as good as that of Tajima cattle. The feeding method here is mainly free range. The boss proudly told Zhang Xiangbei that the cattle here are let out at 7 in the morning and come back at 6 in the evening. They are not fattened in confinement or fed with feed, so that the cattle can have some fun. Adequate exercise time will ensure that the beef will be firm and the fiber will be tender. Zhang Xiangbei listened, silent in his heart. He wanted to say that the way you raise people is no different from the way people raised them 1,000 years ago. It sounds nice, but he doesn't know that it is actually the most primitive and backward thing. Breeding methods. He thought of what he had seen at his home in Laoqiao, and understood the reason why excessive exercise would make the beef here free of snowflakes and frost. This method of breeding and even breeding has been followed, so that the cattle here have never grown in size. The big reason is that the improvement of breeds is an all-round improvement and cannot be cynical. Feed is not a scourge. I don't know when it started. There is a popular saying in China that whether it is pigs, sheep, cattle, chickens, or ducks, feeding feed seems to be unhealthy. This is really a big misunderstanding. They don't know feed. Is it made from corn and soybean meal? And the main feed for cattle is actually dry grass. Zhang Xiangbei really wanted to tell the boss that in fact, the two most popular beefs in the world now, whether they are Japanese Kobe Wagyu or Australian Wagyu, are raised in captivity and fed with feed and hay, as well as beer and wine. Zhang Xiangbei said nothing. He knew that it would be inappropriate for him to say such words here. Saying goodbye to Lao Qi and Ahua, the three of them drove to Haikan, Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan. The few times they came to Hainan, they always went directly to Sanya. They went back to Hangzhou from Sanya. Xiangnan had not been to Hainan yet. Zhang Xiangbei stayed in Haikan for 2 nights when he and Xiao Wu came last time, but they both left early and returned late. That time they came to Haikan, they stayed at the Mingguanghua Hotel. The hotel was very nice, but the surrounding environment was shabby and it was far from the city center. After the two of them took a shower and walked out, there was nothing to see around, so they had better go back. Went to the executive lounge upstairs in the hotel to drink tea and surf the internet. This time, Zhang Xiangbei said he would not stay at Mingguanghua. Bao Tianbin said, "Would the Hilton Hotel be okay? Is it far from the city? We just want to live in the city and be able to go shopping without driving," Zhang Xiangbei said. "By the way, Mr. Bao, is there still Wanghai Tower?" Xiangnan asked. "Are you talking about the previous one or the current Wanghai International Plaza?" Bao Tianbin asked. Xiangnan thought for a moment and said, "It should be from before. No more, it has been demolished. That place is now Wanghai International Shopping Center, the best department store in Haikan. The hotel is gone. The current Wanghai Tower is just a small hotel next to it for dining." Bao Tianbin said, and Xiangnan sighed in disappointment. When she was a child, she heard someone say that Wanghai Tower was designed by Zhang Chen. It was said that it caused a sensation at the time, so she wanted to go and see it. Bao Tianbin scratched his head and said to Zhang Xiangbei with some embarrassment, "Except for Mingguanghua, all the 5-star hotels in Haikan are far from the city. They are either on Haidian Island or on the west coast. It doesn't have to be a 5-star hotel, it just needs to be clean," Zhang Xiangbei said. "We are not that particular. Then go to the new Oslok Hotel. It's just behind the Pearl Plaza, next to the Wanghai International Plaza I mentioned. The lobby of that hotel is a bit small, but the room is pretty good. Okay, let's book this hotel." After Bao Tianbin finished speaking, Zhang Xiangbei shouted to Xiangnan before he could say anything. Bao Tianbin immediately booked an executive suite for them at the new Oslok Hotel. The new Oslok Hotel is located on a slope next to Wanghai International Plaza. In front is the DC Computer City, and on the left is the parking lot behind the Pearl Plaza. The parking lot of the hotel is very small. After getting off the car and walking into the hotel lobby, the lobby is also small, but looks clean. When they arrived at the hotel, it was already past 5 o'clock in the afternoon. After completing the check-in procedures at the front desk, Bao Tianbin was about to send them upstairs. Zhang Xiangbei stopped him and told him, "You can go back and spend time with your wife and children, don't worry about us when it comes to eating. Let's take a rest first, then get up and go out to eat some." Bao Tianbin said yes, There are a lot of places to eat upstairs at Wanghai International, and the coconut chicken at the Long Quan Hotel opposite is also good. If you like spicy food, there are a few hot pot restaurants on Daying Road behind you. If you want to eat seafood and barbecue, go to from here, go out to Hixia Road and turn left. Not far away, next to Xinyuan Hot Spring Hotel, there is a street full of barbecues. Bao Tianbin kept talking. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and chased him. You should leave quickly. If we can't even find food, we deserve to starve to death. Bao Tianbin laughed. Zhang Xiangbei sent Bao Tianbin out, and Bao Tianbin gave Zhang Xiangbei the car key. Zhang Xiangbei said, "It's better that you drive away." "We won't drive. We will walk around when we get up." The two made an appointment. Bao Tianbin came here to pick them up at 9 o'clock the next morning, and then they went to Kayangshong together. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you Zipanjiang 1, James Chen, Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48, Qingbo, and Hao, Nan Ke Yiman 79, Dragon, Book Friends 201707291123288867, Book Friends 1206221010091159, Book Friends 201911021135467118 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2247. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan entered the room. The first thing they did was take a shower. They had walked all day, ate hot Xianggu beef, and visited the breeding farm. They had already sweated a lot. Feeling tired after taking a shower, the two fell on the bed and fell asleep quickly. When Zhang Xiangbei woke up, it was already dark outside. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the time and saw that it was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. He looked at Xiangnan who was not awake yet, so he quietly got up and walked outside. In the living room, sitting on the sofa, I picked up my mobile phone and started reading. After a while, Xiangnan also woke up, but did not see Zhang Xiangbei. She got up and walked to the door connecting the bedroom and the living room. She stood there and looked at Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei's back was facing her, and he was concentrating on looking at his mobile phone. Xiangnan asked. Looking at what? Zhang Xiangbei turned around and said with a smile, I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking at the information about the ding and calf we went to eat today. Are you hungry? Xiangnan shook his head, I'm not hungry. I still have enough to eat at lunch. Zhang Xiangbei stood up and said, if you're not hungry, go for a walk. If you're hungry, have a midnight snack. Say yes to the south. I washed my face and went downstairs, and walked out of the hotel lobby. The Wanghai International next door was still open. Neither of them was interested in visiting the department store. They walked to Hixia Road. Hixia Road was full of people, as if the night in the city had just begun. Start. They looked to the right, then to the left. There were night market stalls in front of the Pearl Plaza on the left, and there were many people. They walked to the left. Pearl Plaza is deserted inside, but from the entrance and along Hixia Road, there are stalls selling clothes, handicrafts, and food. They don't need to buy anything, but just walking among the crowds makes people a little excited. They have heard too many stories about Hainan and Haikan since they were children. It can be said that Hixia Road was familiar to them before they came here, including Haikan Park, which is not far from here. The first night Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan arrived in Haikan, they slept in Haikan Park. However, they always thought that Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan came to Hainan as two people. They were the only two people sleeping in the park, and there was another person. No one told them, and they had no way of knowing. Thinking that this was the city where their fathers first visited, and the city where Zhang Xiangbei's father and mother met, the two of them had a special feeling in their hearts, feeling that there was some kind of secret bond between themselves and the city. Bringing them together makes them a little excited. Why do I feel like I've been here before? Xiongnan and Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhang Xiangbei nodded and said, yes, I feel the same way. How do you feel? You have really been here with Uncle Xiao Wu, Xiangnan shouted. No, we have just been to Hiken, but never here, Zhang Xiangbei said. When we got here, I also had a feeling of deja vu. Hixia Road, I used to listen to Uncle Gangzi, Erhuo, and Uncle Wu Zia. Why? I don't know. How many times have I spoken about it? Xiangnan nodded, understanding. The two walked forward hand in hand and smelled the smell of cumin. As they walked further, they saw the Xinyuan Hot Spring Hotel. There was a small road next to it. It was exactly what Bao Tianbin said. It was full of people all the way in. The food stalls offer barbecue, stir-fry, and some sell refreshments and fruits. Want to eat? Zhang Xiangbei asked. We'll take a stroll and eat again when we come back, Xiangnan said. I saw someone selling Qing Tonic Liang in front of me. Xiangnan was about to buy Qing Tonic Liang. Then he saw a sugar cane seller nearby. The sugar cane seller here was very strange. There was also a stove on the stall, and the sugar cane was placed on the stove. Grilled on top. Xiongnan pulled Zhang Xiangbei's hand and asked Zhang Xiangbei why they put the sugar cane on the fire to roast. Zhang Xiangbei said, I don't know either. Xiangnan let go of Zhang Xiangbei's hand, walked towards the stall where the sugar cane was roasted, and bought a piece of sugar cane. The boss removed the roots and tips of the sugar cane, cut it into 3 sections, and roasted it on the fire. Xiangnan asked the boss, why does sugar cane need to be roasted on the fire? The boss told her that roasted sugar cane is sweeter, crisper, and more delicious. Also, eating sugar cane is easy to get angry, but it will disappear after roasting. Xiangnan nodded, understanding. The boss packed the roasted sugar cane in a bag and handed it to Xiangnan. Xiangnan asked the boss for another bag to use for bagasse later. Xiangnan turned around and saw Zhang Xiangbei standing there. There were 2 women standing in front of him, trying their best to say something. Zhang Xiangbei turned around, trying to avoid them, but they refused to let them go. Xiangnan quickly walked over, calling Zhang Xiangbei as he walked. When the 2 women saw Xiangnan coming, they put something into Zhang Xiangbei's hand and immediately walked away. They approached Xiangnan and asked, do you know each other? Zhang Xiangbei shook his head. What are they looking for you for? Zhang Xiangbei handed the small card in his hand to Xiongnan. Xiongnan understood it at a glance and said with a smile, fair, tender, gentle, and considerate, why didn't you call me one? Zhang Xiangbei said seriously, I called, but he didn't come. Where? Xiangnan looked left and right, but saw no one. He only saw the 2 women looking at them from a distance. Xiangnan suddenly realized that Zhang Xiangbei was talking about himself. He kicked him with a hook of his foot. Zhang Xiangbei laughed. Take it. Xiongnan took out a piece of sugar cane from the bag and handed the bag to Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei took it in his hand. Xiongnan then gave him the empty bag. Zhang Xiangbei asked. What? Catch the bagasse for me, Xiongnan said, and Zhang Xiangbei said, oh. You can eat it too, Xiangnan said. I don't want to eat. It's too troublesome, Zhang Xiangbei said. The sidewalk in front of Xinyuan Hot Spring Hotel was also full of night market stalls, but the number of people began to decrease. The things they bought were no longer clothes, but antiques, calligraphy and paintings, antelope horns, etc. The 2 of them continued to walk forward, gnawing sugar cane as he walked south, while Zhang Xiangbei collected the slag in a bag on the side. Xiangnan thought about it and asked, why would those 2 women keep an eye on you? How do I know? As I stood there, they came up. At first, I didn't know what they were going to do. Then did you tell them that you were alone? Xiangnan asked. No way, I told them that I came here with my wife, and I lied to them that we were staying in this hotel. Zhang Xiangbei pointed at the Xinyuan Hot Spring Hotel. I'll go, why are they still pestering you? Xiangnan cursed, and Zhang Xiangbei laughed. Xiangnan rolled his eyes at Zhang Xiangbei and asked, why are you laughing? They told me that I can get a room in the hotel opposite. It's not expensive. It only costs more than 100 yuan. In the middle of the night, when your wife is asleep, you can sneak out and try something new. Xiangnan giggled and said, okay, then I'll open it for you. Zhang Xiangbei nodded and said yes. As Xiangnan said, she reached out to the bag where the bagasse was thrown, and she threw the 2 small cards inside. Xiangnan said, I'll make a call first and help you book the girl. Zhang Xiangbei was shocked, quickly took the bag away, and cursed, nerve, if you make this call, it will be terrible. They will harass you all night and keep calling you. Xiangnan asked, how do you know? Master and I have traveled almost half of China. There are no such people anywhere. What's so strange about it? Sometimes when we stay in a hotel, there will be this little card stuck under the door, Zhang Xiangbei said. Then have you called? Xiangnan asked. No. I've never been beaten, how do I know I will be harassed constantly? That's what Uncle Dude said, Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile, when he gets such a small card, he will call and tease others. Xiangnan chuckled, we also fought. Zhang Xiangbei stared at her and said to Xiangnan, really, when we go out, Ding Yusong's room will also have such cards inserted. Those people seem to know which room contains men. We are very curious, Yin Tao. I just pretended to have a male voice and made the call. Zhang Xiangbei laughed and asked, what's the result? What's the result? The result was a phone call every 10 minutes, asking the girl when she could come over. Later, Yin Tao got tired of being asked, so she lied to them and said that she had called another one, but she was scolded on the phone. As Xiangnan said this, Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly. After laughing, he said, just be lucky. There are gangsters behind these people. It's a good thing they didn't come to settle accounts with you. Don't do such a thing next time. Do you think we are stupid? Xiangnan said. The 2 people were talking as the sidewalk came to an end. The stalls on the side disappeared, and there was an intersection in front of him. There was a pedestrian bridge at the intersection. Zhang looked diagonally across to the north. In front of the opening where the pedestrian bridge went down, there was a shop with a big sign in front of the door that said Quack Hot Pot Restaurant. The business in the store is very good, and it is full of people. There are also many tables set up in the open space outside, and many people are sitting there. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan said, let's go over and see what's going on there. The 2 of them crossed the overpass and walked into the shop. It turned out that this place was selling frog hot pot. There was a gas stove on a table, and a pot sitting on it. A pot full of frogs were simmering in the pot. It was hot, the soup was red and had the flavor of Yongcheng spicy duck feet. The 2 of them were attracted at first sight. They sat down and ordered 3 kilograms of frogs and a plate of pickled radish. While the 2 of them were sitting and waiting for the food to be served, Xiangnan kept staring at Zhang Xiangbei, and Zhang Xiangbei asked, what are you looking at? Look at you. What do I have to see? I'm waiting to see when you tell me, Xiangnan said. What did I tell you? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Zhang Xiangbei, do you think I can't see that I'm stupid? Are we here to play in Hainan or to inspect work? Xiangnan asked. Zhang Xiangbei chuckled. Tell me, why do you want to come to Hainan? Xiangnan said, you are so interested in cattle that you went to Japan to see cattle and eat beef. When you get here, today and tomorrow, you will be around cattle. I'm here. Guess, Do you want to go to Hainan to raise cattle? Zhang Xiangbei looked at Xiangnan and said honestly, I have this idea, but it is not as simple as just raising cattle. I want to build a research institute while raising cattle to introduce high-quality breeding cattle from all over the world. I want to improve the young cattle here and raise cattle that are even better than Japanese Kobe Wagyu. At the same time, I want to open a beef shop in Haikan. Each type of beef actually has its most suitable cooking method. While raising cattle, I want to find a cooking method suitable for young cattle. What I ate today, it is not suitable for roasting and hot pot, or in other words, the current veal beef is not suitable for roasting and hot pot. Okay, I support you, Xiang Nan said. Tell me, when are you going to start? You don't object? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Why should I object? Xiang Nan asked. This is Hainan, away from Hangzhou. What's wrong with Hainan? It's not Africa. It's only a 2.5-hour flight from Hangzhou. I can come here during my vacation. I can come here on Saturday or go back on Sunday. Zhang Xiangbei, you won't be so worthless, because this is. Are you hesitant? Xiang Nan asked. Zhang Xiangbei chuckled and said, I thought I still needed to do your work, but I didn't expect you to agree so quickly. Xiangnan looked at Zhang Xiangbei and said seriously, you need to do something. No matter what you do, I will support you. If you don't do something, Zhang Xiangbei, you will rot. We are all the same. Thank you Wooden Man and Book Friend 1609081650045541 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2248. At 9 o'clock in the morning, Bao Tianbin drove over to pick them up. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan were already waiting for him in the lobby below. Bao Tianbin asked them if they had had breakfast. Zhang Xiangbei said no, waiting for you to come and eat together. Great, let's go. We won't eat here. I'll take you to eat Bailuo noodles. When you get to Hainan, you must try Hainan noodles, Bao Tianbin said to them. The three people got in the car, and Bao Tianbin drove from the New Okros Hotel to Haixiu East Road. There is an isolation zone in the middle of Haixiu East Road. You cannot turn left. You must turn right and drive to the front, Haixiu East Road and Haifa Road. And make a U-turn in the triangle area at the intersection of Boa Road. After turning around, Bao Tianbin drove the car, pointed to the lush greenery on the right side of the road with his chin, and told them that this was Haikan Park, also called People's Park. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan quickly looked over there. This was their father's. When they first arrived in Hainan, the place where they slept at night was so close to the hotel where they stayed. The two of them, especially Xiangnan, felt a little worried. She lamented that when she first arrived in Haikan, there was someone to pick her up and drop her off, and even the hotel was arranged for them. I could take a bath and sleep calmly, get up and go shopping to eat sugar cane, and eat croaking frog hot pot. At that time, Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen were about the same age as they are now, but they could only sleep in the park. Their future was uncertain and they were very optimistic about the future. At a loss, at that time, I was already in my mother's belly. We were obviously a family, but we were about to be separated. During this, it seemed that no one did anything wrong, but the result was wrong. The result was that she had been with Lu Ligan for several years, but she didn't know that he was her father, and he didn't know that he was her father. My own daughter. Xiangnan sighed softly. Zhang Xiangbei turned to look at her, reached out and held her hand. Xiangnan rested his head on Zhang Xiangbei's shoulder. From Haixiu East Road, turn to Datong Road, and from Datong Road, turn back to Haixiu East Road. The intersection of Datong Road and Haixiu East Road is the hot pot restaurant where Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan had supper last night. Not open in the morning and noon, the door is closed. Enter Nandakiao from Haixiu East Road. turn right into Lonkan North Road, and turn left from Lonkan North Road into Longhua Road. Neither Zhang Xiangbei nor Xiangnan had been here before, but looking at each street name, they all felt familiar. Growing up, they had eaten together with Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, Meng Ping, Erhuo, and Wu Ziyawai. At that time, these sea travelers would always mention Hainan, and the road names would flow out from their lips inadvertently. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan knew that Lu Ligan's company was on Lonkan North Road at that time. The tallest building in Haikan he was going to build in Haikan was at the Kuomao building they were going to now. On Kunan Road, there is another broken dream of Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen. These roads turned out to be so familiar to them. When the car drove through these places, they didn't feel like they were here for the first time. After the car turned left onto Longhua Road, it entered Kuomao in Haikan, passed the gate of Coconut Tree Group, and turned right at Kuomao Yihan Road in front. Not long after entering, the vehicle was blocked. The road here is not wide. Is an alley, and there is a farmer's market here. Opposite the farmer's market is a dad's tea shop. There are many vendors parking their cars on the roadside. This is not a one-way street. Two cars met at the entrance of the farmer's market and couldn't meet each other. He wanted to back up, but another car came up from behind. Bao Tianbin had to get out of the car and let the cars behind him go back one by one, and he also backed up. Make way for the car on the opposite side to pass first, and this bottleneck will be cleared. After the road was clear, Bao Tianbin drove forward about 100 meters and saw an empty space in the parking lot next to Shenlan Urban Apartment on the roadside. He turned in and parked the car. The security guard ran over from the hotel door. Bao Tianbin told him in Hainanese dialect that he would just eat some rice noodles and leave, and the security guard would let them go. Bao Tianbin led them forward and saw a low house with the sign of Tongli Bei Aloyo Noodle Shop hanging on it. Next to it was a pig's trotter's restaurant. The stove at the door was beeping. Hot air, Bao Tianbin and Zhang Xiangbei said. The pig's trotter rice here is very delicious. I often drive here at noon and buy rice, pig's trotters, and large intestines. I eat it in the car and then go back. I am very satisfied. They are very cool, so I just make a Chinese meal. It's too late and it's not there yet. They sell a big bucket of pig's feet every day. You must come over and try it next time. Of course, Zhang Xiangbei has heard of pig's trotter rice in Haikan more than once, but it's not here. It seems to be over there in Haikan Park, on Boa Road, where Zhang Chen and Lu Lepol ate their first meal in Haikan. The food is pig's trotter rice, Zhang Xiangbei and Bao Tianbin agreed. This noodle shop is very small, only about a dozen square meters. 1/3 of the area is taken up by the stove and chopping board for cooking noodles. The remaining space can only be placed for 4 small tables. There is not much in the store. The customers, the chefs, and the helpers surrounding the stove looked very busy, but there were only 2 customers eating noodles in the store. Zhang Xiangbei didn't understand how Bao Tianbin brought them here. Bao Tianbin asked them whether they wanted to eat soup noodles or pickled noodles. They both said pickled noodles. Bao Tianbin and the boss said that all 3 bowls of soup noodles should be added with eggs. After saying that, Bao Tianbin led them into a door in the corner. Outside the door was a temporary shed. There were 3 or 4 people busy in the shed. Some were washing dishes and vegetables, and some were washing dishes. Making stewed vegetables. Zhang Xiangbei walked out of the door and suddenly felt enlightened. I'm going, Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help shouting. He saw that outside the shed was a forest, which was also the backyard of a certain company. There were dozens of tables in the woods, most of which were already full of people. No wonder the chef in front was so busy. There were many customers, but the noodle soup came out very quickly. Zhang Xiangbei thought to himself that so many people must have waited for a long time. Unexpectedly, only 4 or 5 minutes after sitting down, their noodle soup came out. There was something in the white noodle soup. green cabbage, rice rolls, beef, and green onions. Zhang Xiangbei took a sip of the soup and found it extremely delicious. He took another chopstick and held the powder to taste. Zhang Xiangbei praised it profusely and said to Bao Tianbin, "It's delicious, it's delicious." Bao Tianbin smiled and said, "In Haikan, there are many inconspicuous shops like this. They look very shabby, but the taste is really good. Hainanese people are very down to earth. They don't care about the decoration, but only whether your food is delicious. It's really delicious. If you set up a straw shed to sell your stuff, your business will still be very good." After eating, we set out on the road. It was more than 120 kilometers from Haikan to Kayangshong. It took an hour and a half to drive. We arrived in Kayangshong at around 11 noon. While still on the way, Bao Tianbin's comrade-in-arms, Fuz Hirong from the Kayangshong Agriculture and Rural Affairs Bureau, so he called and asked if they had arrived. Bao Tianbin said it was almost there, it was almost there. Fuz Hirong sent the location and asked them to go directly to the hotel, not the one they visited last time, but another one. Kayangshong County is different from the last time Zhang Xiangbei came here. At that time, the entire county was in tatters. Now, the main streets of the county, Yinggan Road and Beiwa Road, have been renovated. The roads are wide and clean, and the houses on both sides of the street the facades have been redone, and patterns with Li ethnic characteristics are added to the tops and skirt waists of many houses, making people feel that this is a Li autonomous county as soon as they enter. Bao Tianbin told them that the land acquired here by Splendid China a few years ago is now going to make a fortune. The project has started this year and is the largest project in Kayangshong. The cost of acquiring the land at that time was only more than 300 yuan. For 1 square meter, the house price in Kayangshong is already 80 to 9,000. After the project is completed, the selling price will definitely exceed 10,000. "Where is this project?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "Would you like to go over to the wetland park and have a look?" Bao Tianbin asked. Zhang Xiangbei didn't say anything, but Xiangnan immediately said, "No, we don't do real estate, what's so good about it?" The hotel they were going to was on Beiwa Road. When they arrived, 2 other comrades, Fuz Hirong and Bao Tianbin, had already arrived. After entering the box and sitting down, they realized that this hotel was owned by one of their comrades, Lao Tan. The reason why Lao Tan is called Lao Tan is because when he was in the army, he drove for the chief. The chief always scolded him, saying that he drove like a tank. He kept scolding him, and when someone asked to find a new driver for the chief, he was called Lao Tan. The chief refused to say anything. He said, "As soldiers, we still have to ride in tanks to feel comfortable." Bao Tianbin scolded Lao Tan, "What do you mean, Lao Tan? You opened the hotel without saying hello, are you afraid that I will always come to your place to get a meal?" Lao Tan retorted, "I just won't tell you. It depends on when your kid thinks of us and comes to Kayangshong to see us. To be honest, if Mr. Zhang hadn't come, you wouldn't have done it today, come? Do the humming math, how long has it been since you came to Kayangshong? My hotel has been open for almost a year." That's right, I'll have to drink 1 drink as a penalty," Fuz Hirong shouted. Bao Tianbin picked up the glass and said, "Just punish me." He raised his neck and drank a glass of wine first. He put down the glass, slapped the table and shouted, "Drink down, Lao Tan, where's the food? Where's your humming food? Come right away. I know Mr. Zhang is coming to eat beef today, so I have already prepared it," Lao Tan said. Just as he was talking, the door opened, and the waiter brought in a stainless steel basin of fried golden beef ribs. It was different from what he had eaten in Ding'an yesterday. The fried beef bones in Ding'an were chopped into small pieces, and here they are whole. Beef ribs. Lao Tan and Xiang Nan said, "Sorry, we are a bit bandit when we drink and eat." Xiang Nan smiled and said, "It doesn't matter, I'm used to bandits. People at the table laughed and looked at Zhang Xiangbei. They all thought that Xiang Nan was saying that Zhang Xiangbei looked like a bandit. In fact, they misunderstood. What Xiang Nan really meant was that people like them who were touring around and running on the dock had long been familiar with these things. No wonder. Xiangnan and Zhang Xiangbei knew that they had misunderstood, but they did not explain. If there was anything to explain, bandits would be bandits, as long as they had something to eat. Zhang Xiangbei grabbed a beef rib and gave it to Xiangnan. Then he grabbed one and gnawed it. After one bite, his mouth was filled with fragrance. It was even more delicious than yesterday's fried beef bones. The most important thing was that it's so satisfying. There's almost half a pound of yellow beef on one beef rib. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you to Lao Chantang, Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48, ZDLM 001, 8 Liang, Windy Wing, 4 + 1 = 5, Lemon Stone Spring Hodgepodge, Zhao 1017, On the Road, Every Day, The Wind of Gibberish, LCS 0001, Book Friend 201901102135244688 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2249. Zhang Xiangbei has already told Xiang Nan what he wants to do, and Xiang Nan also supports him. Today Zhang Xiangbei has nothing to hide. He moved himself to Kayangshong to find a place to raise cattle. I discussed my idea with Fu Zhirong and told him that I wanted to find a ravine like the one we went to last time as a breeding ground. How much area is needed? Fu Zhirong asked. The bigger, the better, Zhang Xiangbei said. Are we not going to change the land use? No change, Zhang Xiangbei said. Oh, maybe we still need space to build cows' heads and research institutes. That's okay. As long as it's still an agricultural project, it doesn't count as a change of use. We still need to build greenhouses for farming, Fu Zhirong said. That won't change. The business of this company is very simple. It's just a breeding farm. The back end is like a hotel. It's opened in places like Haikan, Shanghai, and Hangzhou, Zhang Xiangbei said. Here, we just want to build a breeding farm, a slaughtering and processing workshop, and a research institute. Fu Zhirong thought for a moment and said, I thought of a place. I'll take you to see it after eating. Come on, Mr. Zhang, let's drink first. Kayangshongli Autonomous County is a county in central Hainan. It is located at the northern foot of Wuzishan Mountain. It is not surrounded by the sea. The ingredients here are mainly mountain products. In addition to a large basin of fried beef ribs, there is also a large basin of fried beef ribs, braised beef, and a large casserole. What is stewed in the casserole is coconut cockatrice stew. The chicken is a local rooster, the snake is a venomous snake, and the coconut shell is peeled off. These incompatible ingredients were simmered in a casserole for more than 2 hours, and the soup was clear and mellow, with a fragrant aroma. Xiang Nan was a little scared at first when he heard that the casserole contained venomous snake meat, but after everyone's unanimous request, he tasted it and fell in love immediately. Lao Tan and Zhang Xiangbei said, Mr. Zhang and Captain Feng, today we will drink from big bowls and eat large pieces of meat. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, they are all delicious, the beef bones, beef, coconut cockatrice pot, and this wine. And this coconut water. Xiang Nan raised the cup in his hand. Zhang Xiangbei and the other men drank local Shanlan wine, while Xiangnan drank fresh coconut water with wild honey added. Lao Tan slapped his forehead and shouted, oh, I forgot, there are some good things in the refrigerator, I'll get them. After Lao Tan went out, he came back with a plate in his hand. He came over and put it on the table. Zhang Xiangbei laughed when he saw it. He saw a large plate of foie gras on the plate, which reminded him of the first time they came to Kayangshong. At that time, Lao Tan brought a lot of foie gras to the restaurant. The restaurant chef didn't know how to cook it, so he marinated it all with the braised vegetables. Lao Tan turned the plate to Zhang Xiangbei and said to him, "Mr. Zhang, try this foie gras stuffed with red wine and black pepper, but I learned it from Baidu." Zhang Xiangbei took a piece and tasted it. It tasted very good. Zhang Xiangbei nodded and said, "It's good. It's delicious. It's just such a large portion that it looks a bit scary. It's still bandit-like, like what Robin Hood eats." Lao Tan chuckled, "I'm already halfway there, and the foie gras I brought weighs more than 5 kilograms. By the way, how is this brother's goose farm doing now?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "It's been half dead, and now it's almost impossible to drive." Lao Tan and Zhang Xiangbei said, "After several years of doing this, the market for foie gras still hasn't opened up. We can't even pay the workers' wages. They brought the geese to me and wanted me to help sell them. As a result, the geese were taken out. Goose with liver cannot be cooked at all. I cooked it in a pressure cooker for half an hour, but it still couldn't be chewed, so I can't sell it at all. Let's sell foie gras here. To be honest, it's not as popular as beef liver." "Old Tan, what the hell do you mean? You give us something that can't be sold, and you still say it's good," Bao Tianben scolded. "For those who don't understand, this is not a good thing. If you give him a bear's paw, he will eat it like a pig's trotters. For those who understand, it is a good thing. Are you right, Mr. Zhang?" Lao Tan asked, and Zhang Xiangbei said yes repeatedly. When the rice came, it was yellow, very bright. Lao Tan and Xiang Nan said, "Captain Feng, this is really good food. Try it." The Li people's yellow rice was used to entertain their uncles and chieftains in the past. Xiang Nan took a bite and kept nodding, "It's delicious, very fragrant. What is it made of?" "It is cooked with mountain orchid rice, mountain turmeric, ox dali, and roots and leaves of vine. The Li people have a saying that one family's yellow rice is cooked, and hundreds of families' mouths are watering," Lao Tan said. "It's true," Xiang Nan smiled, "I'm drooling while eating." Several men were drunk, and everyone could only squeeze into one car. Only Xiang Nan could drive. Zhang Xiangbei sat in the passenger seat. Lao Bao and Fuz Hirong asked Lao Tan and another comrade not to go, but the two refused to do anything and had no choice but to squeeze in the back row with 4 people. After leaving the county town, we drove southward for more than 10 minutes under the guidance of Fuz Hirong, and arrived at a mountain kernel. In the middle of this mountain col was a stream with a large amount of water. Both sides of the stream were messy rocks and weeds. There are tea fields on the hills on both sides, but these tea fields look like they have not been taken care of for a long time. The shrubs and grass between the tea trees grow taller than the tea trees. Driving along this gravel road, when approaching the foot of the mountain, a large courtyard appeared. The door of the courtyard was closed, and an old man was sitting in the reception room at the door. Fuz Hirong got off the car, and Bao Tianben and the old man Tan and the others all let out a long breath, and Lao Tan said, "Finally one of them got off the ground, and now he felt relieved." Fuz Hirong turned around and cursed, "I told you not to come, but you must come. You deserve to be squeezed to death." Lao Tan scolded back, "I'm not afraid of death, I just want to follow you. How about a family that loves each other?" Everyone in the car laughed. Fuz Hirong walked into the communication room and said something to the old man. The old man walked out and opened the iron door. Fuz Hirong waved to Xiang Nan and asked Xiang Nan to drive in. Inside the door is a large open space with cement poured on it, and there are rows of houses that look like warehouses and workshops. Zhang Xiangbei is making an estimate in his mind. Bao Tianben said that there are almost 30 acres of land here. It is enough for a cattle shed and a slaughterhouse, and the gentle slopes on the side can also be covered. Everyone got off the car together, and Fuz Hirong came over and asked, "Mr. Zhang, how is this place? If you want, I can think of a solution for the entire mountain col and here. Fuz Hirong said, stamping the cement floor under his feet. Are these tea mountains okay? Bao Tianbin asked. If you can't do anything else, you can definitely turn it into a pasture, Fuz Hirong said. Zhang Xiangbei looked around and said, yes, if this place can be taken, I will plant all the tea mountains here into pasture, like New Zealand, where there is water and grass, and it will be used as a pasture. Good. What was the original purpose of this place? Zhang Xiangbei also stamped his feet and asked Fuz Hirong. The tea factory on the farm, the tea mountains next to it, and this tea factory are all farmed, but the wasteland on both sides of the creek belongs to the village here, Fuz Hirong said. How big is the area? Bao Tianbin asked. If we add it all up, it's probably more than 7,000 acres, Fuz Hirong said, and Zhang Xiangbei felt that this area was also ideal. Bao Tianbin asked, will the Farm Reclamation Council listen to your county? Okay, this tea factory is nothing to agricultural reclamation. It is a very small unit. This tea garden has been deserted for several years. It used to grow green tea but could not sell it. Later it changed to black tea, but there is still no market. This tea factory, the year before last, someone came over and talked about it, saying that they wanted to transform it into a climate-controlled warehouse for green and orange, but nothing happened later. The tea trees on the mountain have also been said to be replanted with green and orange trees, but there has been no movement for several years. You still don't know about the land reclamation. In the past few years, the land sales in various parts of the island have gone crazy. Who has any serious thoughts? In agriculture, this kind of place is selling land and no one wants it, so it is left uncultivated here. Mr. Zhang and his friends won't change the land use, and they don't even need to go through the approval procedures. I will talk to them and I will definitely win it. Fuz Hirong asked Zhang Xiangbei, by the way, Mr. Zhang, how much are you prepared to invest in this project? The initial estimate is 1 billion. If it's not enough, I can increase it, Zhang Xiangbei said. I'll go. How much? Did I hear you right? 1 billion, Fuz Hirong asked Zhang Xiangbei with his eyes widened. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, 1 billion. If all the mountains are converted into pastures, breeding cattle need to be introduced from all over the world, and a research institute is established, I think the investment will not be small. What do you mean, Lao Fu, do you still doubt Mr. Zhang's strength? Bao Tianbin asked. No, it's like thunder in a clear sky, Fuz Hirong laughed. If it's 1 billion, it will be the largest investment project in Kayangshong's history. Mr. Zhang, please wait for my call and I will get it for you. Zhang Xiangbei quickly said yes, thank you, Lao Fu. Back at Lao Tan's hotel, everyone continued to drink tea in the private room. Zhang Xiangbei and Bao Tianbin said they were going back to Haikan. Bao Tianbin and Xiang Nan said, I can do it. The drunkenness has passed, I can do it, start driving. Everyone arrived at the door of the store together. Lao Tan asked the waiter to move 6 boxes of Kayangshong green oranges to the car and asked Zhang Xiangbei and the others to take them with them. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan declined. Bao Tianbin said, Take it, you're welcome to Lao Tan, this green orange is the best thing in Kayangshong. After you taste it, you will know that you will definitely be addicted to it. Everyone said goodbye. After the car started, Fuz Hirong and Lao Tan still stood there and kept waving to Zhang Xiangbei and the others. Fuz Hirong's right thumb and little finger were spread out, and the other 3 fingers were bent and placed next to his ear. Making a phone call gesture towards Zhang Xiangbei kept nodding. The car drove across the Nanda River and walked 2/3 of the way when Bao Tianbin's phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Fuz Hirong. Bao Tianbin picked up the phone and continued driving while listening to Fuz Hirong talking on the phone. When he reached the front exit, he turned the car around. Bao Tianbin stopped the car, turned his head and said to Zhang Xiangbei. Mr. Zhang, we have to go back to Kayangshong now. Why? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Lao Fu has reported your project to the county magistrate. The county magistrate will treat you to dinner tonight, so you must attend, Bao Tianbin said. Thank you, don't take it too seriously, and broke back Mountain for the tip. Thank you. Actually, I really care about the monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2250. Zhang Xiangbei and the others returned to Kayangshong by the same route. It was already past 6 o'clock in the evening. Bao Tianbin drove directly to the Kayangshong Hotel, which was also the Kayangshong County Guest House. They stopped at the door and saw Fuz Hirong standing at the gate waiting for them. As soon as the three of them got out of the car, Fuz Hirong came over to shake hands with Zhang Xiangbei and said to him, I'm sorry, Mr. Zhang, for causing you to come back almost to Hiken. I really can't bear to part with you, a big fish. As soon as we went to report to the county magistrate, the county magistrate asked us to invite you back immediately. We will take care of this matter today. It's been implemented, so that's fine, everyone who should be there has arrived now. Zhang Xiangbei said quickly, thank you, Lao Fu, that's right. The four people walked inside. Before they reached the door of the box was open and someone was talking inside. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan were stunned for a moment. They heard a familiar voice coming from inside. Zhang Xiangbei looking at Bao Tianbin. Bao Tianbin smiled and said, Mr. Xie is also here. I called him and he happened to be in Kayangshong. He came over after knowing this. Zhang Xiangbei immediately understood why Bao Tianbin called Lao Xie to discuss the project. Lao Xie was the old turtle. Besides, he was in Kayangshong and he knew everyone from top to bottom, so he would definitely be in the class. Busy, Zhang Xiangbei felt that it was probably not Lao Xie who happened to be here, but that he knew what he was going to do today and came all the way from Hiken. However, he was worried that he was thin-skinned and would not show up until the critical moment. Now, the critical moment has arrived. Zhang Xiangbei walked in. Lao Xie saw him stand up and smiled at him. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan hurried over and called Uncle Xie. Lao Xie was here, so Fuz Hirong didn't interrupt much, knowing that Lao Xie would take care of everything. Sitting next to Lao Xie was a middle-aged man in his 40s with a Chinese character face. He also stood up when he saw Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan coming in. Lao Xie introduced them to each other, saying that this is Mr. Zhang and this is County Magistrate Zhen. County Magistrate Zhen held Zhang Xiangbei's hand and added to himself, my surname is Zhen, not Zhang from Zhengqiavan, but Zhen from Dani Yen. I am the real county magistrate, not a fake county magistrate. Everyone present laughed, and the introduction continued. Sitting next to County Magistrate Zhen was Director Xiao from the Agricultural Reclamation Office in Kayangshong, followed by Director Li from the County Investment Promotion Bureau, Director Zhang from the County Government Office, and Fuz Hirong, Director of the Rural Agriculture Bureau. If this happened, their Rural Agricultural Bureau's investment promotion tasks for several years would be completed. So when Fuz Hirong returned to his work and told the director immediately took him to the county magistrate, and that's how this happened. Even the director of the Agricultural Reclamation Office in Kayangshong came. Zhang Xiangbei understood what Fuz Hirong meant when he said before that everyone who should be there was here. Zhang Xiangbei sat down next to Lao Xie, followed by Xiang Nan, Bao Tianbin, and Fuz Hirong, exactly 10 people. The dishes have been served and are waiting for Zhang Xiangbei and the others. As soon as everyone sat down, County Magistrate Zhen stood up, holding a cup in his hand, and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "On behalf of Kayangshong, I would like to welcome Mr. Zhang and Captain Feng first." Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan clinked glasses with him, and the others also stood up and drank with him. Before everyone could sit down, Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan returned the greeting to County Magistrate Zhen to express their gratitude. Magistrate Zhen said to the others that they should be together, and everyone stood and drank together again. After sitting down, the topic immediately turned to the project. Zhang Xiangbei told County Magistrate Zhen his thoughts. Magistrate Zhen kept nodding. When Zhang Xiangbei finished speaking, Magistrate Zhen looked at Zhang Xiangbei and talked to him. "Explain." "Mr. Zhang, Lao Xie is here too. I will tell you not to tell secrets. Tell me honestly. Are you going to invest in industry or real estate? If you are dissatisfied with your opinion, in the past few years, I also met some people who said they came to invest in tourism, agriculture or tropical agriculture. In fact, the final purpose had nothing to do with agriculture, but to acquire land for real estate. I like to be straightforward. If I want to do business, I'll talk about it. If I want to do real estate, that's no problem. Let's talk about it in terms of real estate." County Magistrate Zhen said and glanced at Lao Xie, who cursed. "Look what I'm doing. When we came to get the land, we told you clearly that we were going to do real estate. At that time, no one in your county believed that real estate people would come to Kayangshong. Okay, what I said before is not about you, Lao Xie, don't worry too much." County Magistrate Zhen waved his hand. "I know you are the first to do real estate in our Kayangshong, anyway, your land, nor is it in my hand." "Lao Xie, you have the nerve to say that," Director Guan interjected. "The billboards for your project have been erected for 7 or 8 years, but the project only started construction this year. Is it because housing prices don't rise, so you won't start?" Lao Xie smiled and said, "We are an enterprise, and of course an enterprise must be profitable. For such a big project, if we had started construction 7 or 8 years ago, would anyone in Kayangshong buy the houses we built to raise pigs?" County Magistrate Zhen cursed, "I knew you were always a ghost." County Magistrate Zhen then said to Zhang Xiangbei, "To tell you the truth, Mr. Zhang, we have also checked Mr. Zhang's background. I know that Mr. Zhang has the financial strength. However, we still have such a large investment to build a breeding farm. It feels a bit unexpected. What I want to do is not an ordinary breeding farm. The main purpose is to improve the breed. Breed improvement requires the introduction of breeding cattle from all over the world and the hiring of first-class experts. This investment is not comparable to that of ordinary breeding farms. To be honest, efficiency will not be prioritized." Zhang Xiangbei and County Magistrate Zhen said, "I really want to come here to build a breeding farm. I have no interest in real estate. If I wanted to do real estate, I wouldn't come to Kayangshong." Zhang Xiangbei said. Lao Xie and Bao Tianben both laughed. Lao Xie and County Magistrate Zhen said, "Come on, County Magistrate, let me introduce you again. This Feng Xiangnan is the daughter of Tan Shahen, the chairman of our splendid China." Everyone said "Oh" and looked at Xiangnan. Xiangnan smiled shyly at everyone. Lao Xie and County Magistrate Zhen said, "Now do you believe what Mr. Zhang said? If he wants to do real estate, the temple in Kayangshong is still too small. I believe it, I believe it, I welcome you with both hands." County Magistrate Zhen said, turning to Director Xiao and asked, "What about you, Lao Xiao, please express your attitude." Director Xiao smiled and said, "Of course we welcome it, but if Mr. Zhang rents our tea factory, I can make a decision immediately. If it is transferred, I will have to report to the superiors. I don't know what decision they will make." "Slippery," Lao Xie scolded, "it's not like you have never sold farms before. I have bought several of them." "Don't poke me, Lao Xie," Director Xiao said, and it was revealed in one sentence that he was actually Lao Xie's fellow Hunan fellow. Lao Xie is right. If your shabby tea factory could be rented out, it would have been rented out long ago. Don't even think about raising the price on the ground. That mountain COL, except for Mr. Zhang's cattle breeding club, would be interested in it. Like Lao Xie and the others. People who are engaged in real estate will not buy land in that place in another 20 years, am I right, Lao Xie? County Magistrate Zhen said. Lao Xie is right. After passing this village, there is no such store. Director Li from the China Merchants Bureau also said, what Mr. Zhang and his team are doing is an agricultural transformation project, a project to promote agriculture through science and technology, without changing the original land use. From the central government I strongly support you, farmers, and you would rather transfer the land to others for real estate development than to companies like Mr. Zhang and others, and you won't be able to say anything about it. Director Xiao couldn't resist, and quickly waved his hand and said, okay, I'm not saying it's not possible, but the matter is too big. I, a small office director, can't make the decision. I need to report to my superiors. I can help fight for it, okay. Do you think you are too young as a director now? County Magistrate Zhen said, Old Xiao, if you don't help our county get this matter done, don't leave Kayang's Hong. Lao Xie asked Director Xiao, who can make the decision on this matter. Director Xiao smiled and said, you know. Lao Xie nodded. County Magistrate Zhen asked the director of the Rural Agriculture Bureau, approximately how much land is there in our county? More than 500 acres. Director Guan said, it's all sloping and gentle land. This is easy to deal with. County Magistrate Zhen nodded. The land on the barren slopes is still in the hands of the village collective. Farmers have not been assigned to it. There is no problem of land acquisition. The land on the barren slopes is reclaimed and used for agriculture and animal husbandry. For their county in this regard, not only is there no policy difficulty, but it can actually increase the development land quota of the same area. County Magistrate Zhen and Zhang Xiangbei said, in this way, Mr. Zhang, we have decided on the general direction of this project. Our county will actively fight for the agricultural reclamation side. Tomorrow I will go to Haikan to make it clear. First our attitude is, Lao Xie, you also help here, Lao Xiao, you also help push. Lao Xie and Director Xiao both nodded. County Magistrate Zhen continued, as long as the agricultural reclamation side agrees, the agreement can be signed immediately. Our county has no problem. By the way, in order to show our county's sincerity, we will give you 20 yuan for this project in the county seat acres of supporting land. Zhang Xiangbei was still mumbling, why should I use the supporting land, but Bao Tianbin had already said for him. Thank you, County Magistrate. When leaving, Lao Xie held Zhang Xiangbei's hand and told him that with the county's attitude, the problem on the farm would not be big. I knew who to go to and I would help suppress the price. Do not worry. Zhang Xiangbei said quickly, thank you, Uncle Xie. If you have anything to do in Hainan, just call me. If Xiaobao hadn't called me, I wouldn't have known you were in Hainan. Your father and your mother didn't tell me. Lao Xie told Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, they only know that we are here to play in Hainan, so they think there is no need to disturb Uncle Xie. I think so, Lao Xie said with a smile, otherwise if you want to find a land, they will definitely ask me. I am familiar with Hainan and can help with reference. The three people started on the road back to Haikan again. Zhang Xiangbei asked Bao Tianbin. Lao Bao, what did the county magistrate in front of me mean by giving us 20 acres of supporting land in the county? Why do I need this land? Supporting your project is equivalent to the county giving you money, Bao Tianbin said, although this kind of land also needs to go through the auction process, there are additional conditions. Other companies cannot auction it, which is equivalent to designated here you go, the price of this kind of land is very low. Once you get it, you can develop it yourself or cooperate with others. Besides, when you have such a big project, where will all the employees of the company and the experts you invited live? Or in the county town? If you live in the county town, you can use this place as a dormitory. If you don't want to, if you do, give it to Mr. Xia and let him develop it. Mr. Xia can give you as many sets as you need, and he can sell the rest. Zhang Xiangbei understood that this was what happened, and it seemed to be a good thing. Thanks to Brokeback Mountain, Two Fishes, and Wooden Man for the rewards. Thank you hoo. Actually, I really care. Zongkai 727, Romantic Sakura Chin Fanchu, Donglongdong, Guandian Electrical and Mechanical, Lao Shenza Sang, Book Friends 160529232957,000 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2251. When Zhang Xiangbei and the others returned to Haikan, it was already past 10 o'clock. After taking a shower, it was already 11 o'clock. Neither of them were sleepy yet. It was not surprising that Zhang Xiangbei was not sleepy. On the way back, he was in the car. She took a nap, but she didn't feel sleepy when driving south, which was a bit strange. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Are you not sleepy?" Xiang Nan shook her head and said, "I don't know why, but when I arrive in Hainan, I don't want to sleep at night. Do you think it's strange?" Zhang Xiangbei laughed. Xiang Nan said, "Don't laugh. I'm serious. It was the same when I performed in Sanya. Anyway, as soon as I arrived in Hainan, I couldn't sleep at night. It was still very early at 12 o'clock. Let's go. Let's go shopping." The two of them went downstairs, reached the hotel entrance and then went back. It was too hot outside. Xiang Nan said that he had to take a shower after walking around for a while, so forget it and decided not to go out. The two of them sat in the lobby for a while. There was a woman sitting at the other end of the sofa. Zhang Xiangbei felt that she looked familiar. After thinking for a while, he remembered that she was one of the two women who gave him a small card last night. Zhang Xiangbei suddenly felt embarrassed. Last night, he lied to her that he was staying at Xinyuan Hot Spring Hotel, not here. The woman seemed to recognize Zhang Xiangbei, smiled at him, and kept blinking at him. Zhang Xiangbei didn't know what she meant, so he could only pretend not to see it. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan said, "Let's go up." "Sit for a while longer," Xiang Nan said, "or you can pull me up." Zhang Xiangbei stood up, stretched out his hand to pull Xiang Nan up, ignored the woman, and the two of them went upstairs. Back in the room, the two of them sat down on the sofa in the living room outside. One person occupied one end of the sofa. Xiangnan was scrolling through Weibo. Zhang Xiangbei was on Facebook and was looking at the pictures he posted on Facebook of Hainan official dates. There were a lot of messages below, and there were two guys who wanted to chat with him, so Zhang Xiangbei started chatting with them. Xiang Nan was on the other end of the sofa. He didn't know what he saw was funny, and he chuckled. Zhang Xiangbei sat on the sofa, rubbed Xiang Nan with his feet, and asked, "What are you laughing at?" "Nothing, I'm chatting with Zhouruyi," Xiang Nan said. It turned out that she was no longer browsing Weibo. The leisurely time passed quickly, and it was 12 o'clock before I knew it. Zhang Xiangbei remembered and asked Xiangnan, "Where do you want to play next?" Xiangnan put down his phone, turned to look at him, and said, "Zhang Xiangbei, can you stop being so hypocritical?" "What's wrong with me?" Zhang Xiangbei put down his phone and asked. "Are you still interested in playing now?" Xiangnan asked. Zhang Xiangbei smiled. "No need to go anywhere, just wait here. When the matter in Kayangshong is settled, we will go back. You prepare yours. I also want to go back and see how Ding Yusong and the others are preparing." To be honest, I was always worried about what might go wrong in the preparations for the festival, Xiangnan said. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, this place has been settled, I have to plan carefully, and we will return to Hangzhou first. When they returned to Hangzhou, the Yongcheng International Street Theater Festival was about to open, and Zhang Xiangbei would still be in Hangzhou, waiting for Miki Yataguchi and Mr. Zhang to arrive. Xiangnan nodded. Zhang Xiangbei's phone rang. It was Bao Tianbin. Zhang Xiangbei picked it up. Bao Tianbin asked, Mr. Zhang, are you asleep? Zhang Xiangbei said no. Okay, just wait, I'll be there soon. After Bao Tianbin finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Is it Lao Bao? Xiangnan asked. Zhang Xiangbei nodded and said, Shen Shen Dao, he said he was coming over. Xiangnan laughed and said, then they must be asking us to have supper. Just wait, you foreigner, let's see what surprise Lao Bao, a native, has in store for us. Zhang Xiangbei also laughed after hearing this. Bao Tianbin came to see him at this time, just as Xiangnan said. Less than 10 minutes later, Zhang Xiangbei's phone rang again. He picked it up and Bao Tianbin said, I'm here, Mr. Zhang, please come down. Lao Bao, what are you going to take us to eat? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Lao Bao laughed on the phone and said, salt-baked chicken, Heiken's very cool salt-baked chicken. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan went downstairs and got into Bao Tianbin's car. The place to eat salt-baked chicken is not far from here, on Yulong West Road. It only takes 7 or 8 minutes to drive there, but on this street, there are many. It's a late-night snack shop, and the roadside is full of cars. Bao Tianbin pointed to a shop called Jiaji Salt-Baked Chicken and told Zhang Xiangbei and the others, this is it, why don't you go first? Zhang Xiangbei said, don't be in a hurry, just take your time. The car continued to drive forward, and after driving for more than 200 meters, I saw an empty parking space on the side of the road. After parking the car, the three of them got out of the car and walked back. On this road, there were 3 stores selling salt-baked chicken, as well as one selling raw porridge and mother's porridge, and one that was known as the #1 store in Yulong beef brisket. Walking back to Jiaji salt-baked chicken, I found that the business here is better than the other one selling salt-baked chicken, and the store is also the largest. There are dozens of tables inside and outside the store, almost all seats are occupied, and there are several takeaways. Deliverymen, waiting for their goods. Bao Tianbin told them that this is a time-honored restaurant that has been open for more than 10 years. Although there were many customers in the store, few drank, and the turnover of customers was very fast. They only waited for 2 or 3 minutes, and 2 tables of customers immediately got up, and they chose a table outside to sit down. When ordering, Zhang Xiangbei discovered the reason why there were so few drinking customers here. The menu here was written on the wall, and all the dishes were only one kind, which was salt-baked chicken. This is a chicken restaurant. It is not suitable for guests who drink. Bao Tianbin ordered 2 chickens and asked Zhang Xiangbei if he wanted to go to the kitchen and see. Zhang Xiangbei said yes. The 2 stood up and wanted to take a look at Xiangnan. Bao Tianbin put his bag on the table. Zhang Xiangbei asked, would it be unsafe? It's okay, I can see it. I'll be back soon, Bao Tianbin said. The 3 people walked to the door of the kitchen inside. Indeed, there was nothing interesting in the kitchen. There was a large pot on the kitchen entrance. The large pot was filled with a pot of white coarse salt. There was a blazing fire underneath, and each pot was wrapped in paper. The chickens are buried in the coarse salt of this large pot. They are cooked and thoroughly stewed by the salt. The chicken sellers are very experienced. You can tell which chickens are cooked by pressing your fingers on the chickens. The real kitchen is actually outside the kitchen. There is a shed set up there. The chickens are killed and blanched there, and then placed in 2 large stainless steel buckets. They are also baked with coarse salt. The chickens in the big pots inside are quickly cooked. When they were sold, they dug out the stewed chicken from the bucket outside and buried it in the big pot. The three people returned to their seats, and the chicken they ordered came. Along with the chicken, there was a pot of white porridge, a small bowl of dried radish, and a plate of green vegetables blanched in boiling water. Bao Tianbin told them, "You can refill the white porridge and dried radish as much as you like." Zhang laughed to Xiangbei and Xiangnan. Peeling off the paper wrapping the chicken fat inside was bright and yellow and full of aroma. The aroma of the chicken was mixed with the aroma of spices. The three people put on disposable gloves and started eating the chicken. Bao Tianbin broke off the chicken. One chicken leg was first given to Xiangnan, and then the other one was broken off and given to Zhang Xiangbei. The chicken had been braised until thoroughly cooked. He broke it apart with his hands. Bao Tianbin then opened the belly of the chicken. In addition to chicken gizzards and liver, it was also stuffed with Kodano-size pilosula, astragalus root, and wolfberry. After breaking it open, a stream of the smell of Chinese medicine spreads. Zhang Xiangbei took a bite of the chicken leg. The meat was delicate, neither greasy nor woody, and extremely fragrant. Especially the yellow chicken skin, which was slippery and delicious. "Come on, try this, it tastes different." Bao Tianbin gave them the chicken breasts to try, and Zhang Xiangbei took a bite. Sure enough, the chicken breasts were penetrated by the medicinal materials. In addition to the fresh aroma, there was also a faint medicinal smell. And a hint of sweetness. After a full meal of chicken, I drank a few mouthfuls of white porridge and ate some dried radish. My mouth, which was just a little greasy, became light again, and I could continue eating chicken immediately. The three of them finished the 2 chickens and the first pot of white porridge and couldn't eat anything else. Bao Tianbin asked them, "Not far behind you, on Coconut Grove Road, there is a delicious seafood noodle restaurant, do you want it? Try it in the past." Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan quickly said no, they couldn't eat any more. "Do you want to force us to death?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. Bao Tianbin laughed, and he said, "Okay, let's do it tomorrow." After sending Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan back to the hotel, Bao Tianbin followed him into the hotel. After hesitating for a while, he made up his mind and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "Mr. Zhang, I have something to tell you." Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan stopped, and Zhang Xiangbei asked, "What's going on?" Bao Tianbin pointed to the sofa in the lobby, "Can we go there to talk?" Xiangnan smiled and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "I'll go up first." The two of them walked to the sofa in the lobby and sat down. At this time, it was past 1 o'clock, and there was no one in the lobby. Even the big lights on the top of the lobby had been turned off, and the sofa was dimly lit. Zhang Xiangbei and Bao Tianbin sat down on the sofa. Zhang Xiangbei asked Bao Tianbin, "What's the matter, Lao Bao?" "Mr. Zhang, I'm wondering if I can start a breeding farm with you," Bao Tianbin said. "No," Zhang Xiangbei said. "Why?" Bao Tianbin asked. "You are now in Zaixian Shui, and your job and income are very stable. Zaixian Shui now belongs to Dabao.com, and you are an employee of Dabao. There are so many people who want to join Dabao, but they can't. How can you, if you say it, come out? If you go back after you come out, you won't even be at your current level," Zhang Xiangbei said. "I will not go back after I come out. I will just follow you, Mr. Zhang," Bao Tianbin said. Zhang Xiangbei still shook his head and said, "I am still in the entrepreneurial stage. I don't know what will happen in the future. How could I let you lose such a good job and come to follow me? This is my choice, Mr. Zhang. You don't have to think about it, including income. I'm willing to give you whatever you want. I just want to work with you." Bao Tianbin looked at Zhang Xiangbei and continued, "Besides, you also need me. You can't even speak Hainan Essa. Hainan Essa are not xenophobic, but if you want to have a close relationship with them, you really must speak Hainan Sa. Especially in Kyungshong, once the project starts, you need to. How many people have I dealt with? I used to work under Mr. Xie in engineering, so I have experience in this area. Zhang Xiangbei had to admit that once his project was to be implemented here, he really needed an experienced and trustworthy helper like Bao Tianbin to oversee the project construction here, so that he could be free to do other things. However, Zhang Xiangbei felt that it was unreasonable for Bao Tianbin to leave Zaixian Shui to start his own business. Mr. Zhang, don't worry. I'm not the kind of irresponsible person. I will communicate with Mr. Wu. Zaixian delivery is in Hainan. I will definitely help select a successful candidate for our project. There weren't that many things to do at the beginning, it was mainly about handling the procedures in this department or that department. If I have time, I will still volunteer to help Zaixian Shui, and the transition will definitely be smooth. Bao Tianbin and Zhang Xiangbei talked. Zhang Xiangbei thought about it and said, "Old Bao, let me think about it, okay." Bao Tianbin said yes. Zhang Xiangbei returned to the room and asked Xiang Nan what happened. Zhang Xiangbei told Xiang Nan what Bao Tianbin told him, and Xiang Nan said, "If Lao Bao is willing to help you, that's great. You really need him. If you were to work on such a big project in the valley alone, I wouldn't worry. But with Lao Bao helping you, I would be relieved." Thanks to Shi Yitan, Ming Xian, Gu Zhao Kaiokyu, On the Road Tianation, and Zhao 1017 for their monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.